Hey everyone, and welcome to 1.21 Gigawatts. I am Peter, that is Connor, and this is our weekly movie news show in which we work our way through the week's movie news. We just comic book movie news, we have a horror movie news section at the end. Halfway through the show, we look at the week's trailers. We have like a dozen of them this week, and we pick our favourite trailer of the week as well at the end of that section. That's what we do on this show. That's what we do every week. That's what's happening. But of course, we always start with box office for the last weekend, domestically. So that's what we're going to do. We did guess last week as to what Black Panther's numbers would be.
Do you have those figures? Because I don't remember what we guessed.
I remember. You guessed 40 and I guessed 38. We were close. We guessed closely on this.
Oh, okay.
Alright. Black Panther was number one again for its fourth weekend in a row. And it made 40.8 million.
Oh.
So for the first time you've won. Ever since we started guessing, this is the first time you've won.
You sure about that? I feel like I won before this.
You didn't. The first time we guessed was Black Panther's opening weekend. We were both wrong, but I was closer. And then I've been closer every time since. This is the first time you've won.
I thought I was right the week before as well.
This is not...
Well, not right, but close.
You're fabricating news here.
I'm not so
oh,
sure.
no, wait, actually, now I'm thinking about it. I think I was right, and then they updated the estimate.
and it was closer to me, yeah.
That's right.
That sounds familiar.
So yeah, Black Panther made 40 million on its fourth weekend, which is insanely good, of course, still. It is now worldwide at 1,126,000,000. It is the fifth highest worldwide for the MCU. If it's the second highest domestically, it's probably going to beat Avengers domestically. Not worldwide. Worldwide, it'll probably get to at least third, if not second. But definitely third.
It's insane. I'm genuinely blown away.
It's
I know we keep saying it, but it keeps surprising me.
It's doing well. More than that, when we get to the trailers, and I know you don't want to necessarily talk about the trailer itself, but I'll talk about maybe the influence that it might be having on ticket sales, because we've got a... Actually,
I'll listen to that discussion.
Actually, that's before even trailer. I've got a new story actually after the box office.
Okay, fine. I can just ignore you when it comes to the trailer then.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm happy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've got a new story in the comic books. I was just checking that there before I promised something that I wasn't going to deliver on. But no. So yeah. So number one, 40.8 million. I think for next week, before I do the rest of the top 10, I think we should be predicting at the end of this what Black Panther's going to make, and also what Tomb Raider's going to make for its opening weekend. So we will be doing that at the end of this top 10. But number two, new entry. Kind of disappointing actually, based on I think because I think we predicted this as well. I do think we put it under Black Panther. I'm going to have to start noting down what we were predicting because it's getting more complex as we have more of them. But A Wrinkle in Time is number two with 33 million. And most that's it. And most surprising about that is I think when we were guessing, I think you guessed like 60 million or something like that. You were like way higher.
I think I said like 60, 70. You were around the 50 mark, I think.
And I think people in general are expecting this to be a bigger opening thing, but instead it's kind of lukewarm.
I admit I might have overshot, but I didn't think I'd overshot that much.
But hey, yeah, Wrinkle Time. So the funny thing is I know this is a near and dear story to a lot of people. I had never heard of it until this movie was coming out.
Me either.
I think there's and I've heard that sentiment in other conversations. I've heard some people know it really well, and some people have just never heard of it. So I don't know. But hey ho. But that's directed by DuVernay, of course. More on her in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair though, I don't think there was that huge of a marketing push for this. It's not been the level I'd have expected.
Yeah, it's hard to say. They've been doing a lot of kids stuff. I know there was stories about getting like entire like classrooms of kids like tickets to go see it, and they've been doing a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, I know they had the stunt at the Oscars, but
number three, another new entry, Strangers Prey at Night, 10.4 million, which for that is probably okay. I imagine. What's the budget on that?
Yeah.
It doesn't tell me the budget. Mojo's not telling me.
Disappointing.
But hey, that's probably fine for that though. By the time that's said and done, it'll probably justify its cost. Interestingly, the sequel to The Strangers came 10 years later after the first one. Because the first one's actually 10 years old, which actually, honestly, is kind of scary that it's been 10 years since 2008.
Really?
But
Yeah.
still, it's...
I mean, I think we'll be saying that a lot when we talk about Infinity War.
we probably will be saying that a lot when we talk about Infinity War. Number 4 is Red Sparrow, dropping 2 places. That's 8.5 million. So after 2 weeks, that is at 90 million worldwide. I think it's safe to say that's not been a huge hit. I mean, it wasn't a super high budget. That was probably a medium level budget at 69 million. So it'll
be all right, but it won't be a success.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect a sequel or anything like that from that. Number 5 is Game Night with 7.8 million. Number 6 is Peter Rabbit with 6.7 million. Number 7 is Death Wish, dropping 4 places to 6.5 million. Number 8 is Annihilation with 3.3 million. Number 9 is The Hurricane Heist with 3 million. And number 10 is Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, still clinging in there at the top 10 with 2.7 million. And I know you're curious what that's at worldwide now. 938 million. That's at worldwide. Who could have saw that coming?
I mean, that might just scrape towards the 950.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say, but I was like, not a billion. There's
no,
too late for that. But Black Panther, just put it in context. I can actually click on the thing here. So the MCU worldwide, Black Panther's at number 5 with 1.126 billion. It's only got about another 30 before it beats Civil War, which I think it's definitely doing at this rate.
Yeah, how many weeks has it had? Is it 5 or 6 now?
Well, that was its 4th weekend. This weekend.
Fourth. Okay.
Yeah, this weekend we're getting into it's the 5th. Right. Yeah. Number 3 is Iron Man 3 with 1.214. It'll probably beat that. It's pretty safe. I think the real hurdle is at Age of Ultron at 1.4 billion, because that's the one that it might not. I
think it's just slightly out of reach.
I'm not sure. I think it still could do it.
It could, but I think slightly. But then again, I've been underestimating it consistently. So
that's true.
What do I know?
It's already number 2 domestically. It's got another.
I think that's interesting. It tells you that culturally, it speaks clearly a lot domestically.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That said, when you look at the breakdown of the percentages, it's actually really 50-50. It's like 51% domestic and 49% world, international. So it's,
All right. It just captured the zeitgeist in America more than the other films did.
Yeah, maybe. But anyway, so Avengers is at 623 million. Panther's currently at 578. Honestly, I think it's a done deal. It's going to beat that.
Okay, yeah.
Based on what my guess is about to be in a minute for this weekend, and then a few more smaller weeks, it'll be there for another month at least, maybe 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be there up till about Infinity War comes out.
Probably, yeah, it'll probably be there.
They'll probably just replace it.
I can see them keeping it by. See if it's still there. I can see them keeping it for another week whilst Infinity War's out, because I feel like a lot of
two, maybe just people doing their own double builds.
People might go, oh, we'll see Black Panther again before we see Infinity War. Maybe,
I can see some smart cinemas scheduling some show times.
Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, so let's get to some guessing then, which I'll note down at the end of my news document here, so I can check it next week if I need to check it. All right. So, Black Panther in its 5th weekend, and obviously along with this you're kind of guessing what's number 1 because based on the numbers you give me for this and Tomb Raider. So, Black Panther...
this week was just over 40, right?
40.8. I've got
and
to
the
get...
week before was around 60-ish, I think.
Oh, was it?
I don't know, I'm trying to remember. Maybe it was high.
Oh, you mean last week? The week
before?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out roughly how much it dropped.
Oh yeah, it was like 60, 70, something like that.
Yeah, okay. What did you say? You have a guess?
Yeah, I'm going to go with 25.
All right, well, I was thinking about that, but I'll skew slightly up. I'll go 28.
28, okay.
I've underestimated every time, so screw it.
And then Tomb Raider. Let's be curious, actually, what you guess.
43.
43. Interesting.
Ambitious, but not, insane.
Here's the thing. I'm suspecting this is going to bomb.
It might.
And 43 is actually not even that great to begin with.
It's not, which is why I'm lowballing on 43, frankly.
But you
want to go lower still, don't you?
I'm going to say 24, which puts me 1 million under my guess for Panther. I think Panther's #1 next weekend.
Oh, okay, that's a bold claim.
Panther's 5 weeks in a row, and Tomb Raider is just under it, which is a complete disaster for Tomb Raider at that amount. But I see that happening.
Okay. The thing is, I don't know that you're wrong. I'm being optimistic for Tomb Raider, and my optimistic guess is not amazing. So
Tomb Raider's #2, and Black Panther's #1. It's relatively close though. I think they're both in the 20s, but I think Black Panther's taking it for a 5th weekend, which not a lot of movies do. So
no, I mean, let's be real. It's probably going to retain the #1 spot longer than Avengers will, given what's coming.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's because that's got more competition in the weeks following. Black Panther had a nice little thing where like 3 weeks of nothing, and A Wrinkle in Time didn't do as well as it maybe should have, and then Tomb Raider's maybe not going to do as well as it maybe should have.
Again, we've not seen any early predictions for Tomb Raider, right?
No, I've not seen anything.
Okay, good.
I deliberately don't look because I know we do this.
No, sometimes I'll just happen to accidentally see something. You know, you can't. Sometimes you just see it on your Twitter. You can't avoid it. But if it's, I don't go out of my way.
Well, with that said, that is the box office, so we can get cracking into the proper movie news of the week. And as always, we start with the comic book movie news. And we do have an out-of-nowhere big announcement this week.
We do indeed.
So I mentioned David DuVernay, who currently just did A Wrinkle in Time, and she also did Selma a couple of years ago. Obviously, that was a big Oscar movie.
I never saw it. Shockingly.
I have not got around to it either. Nor have I seen A Wrinkle in Time. So I'm sitting here having no familiarity with her work, but I hear she's good.
Yeah.
I hear she's good.
But box office may not entirely agree.
Well, true. But hey, we'll see, because she is going to be doing a DC Comics film. And it's one that we didn't even know was on their slate. Like, every time we get a list of movies, it's this and it's this, and maybe Batgirl's missing off one, maybe Nightwing's missing off that one, but it's typically been the same pool of about 12 movies, with maybe 8 showing up every time we see the list, right?
Yeah.
And then they seem to swap around interchangeably whenever they feel like. She is currently in talks to direct a New Gods movie.
Sure.
For those of you who don't know who the New Gods are, I'll explain that in a minute. I've got a bit of text here that I can throw at you.
Oh, I can't wait to see how the internet has described this for you.
And yeah, I don't even. Oh dear.
I mean, one, I'm kind of like, I don't know that this will happen because I don't trust DC news cycle anymore.
Yeah, they've announced a lot that's not went anywhere, or they've went through 5 directors, or they've whatever.
Yeah, so sure, get excited by all means, but I saw this and went, sure, that's gonna happen.
They've got a writer as well. Kario Salim is going to be writing it, and yeah, he did Chasing Mavericks.
Not familiar, sorry.
Yeah, me neither. But
I don't envy the task of someone figuring out how to adapt New Gods.
So yeah, this is the funny thing actually. Everyone kept sharing. She was asked in December what her favourite superhero was, and her answer was Big Barda, who's a New Gods character, a DC Comics New Gods character. And okay, all right. I didn't see this at the time, but had I done so, I'd have been like, oh, that's kind of a cool answer. That's not what you expect.
The question is that an answer and then they've approached her, or was it she was already in talks and this is almost a little hint?
That's a good question. But hey, so they're also saying this is not really connected to any of the other DC movies. This is fairly standalone, which makes some amount of sense, because Darkseid didn't show up in Justice League.
No, we had thingy.
Steppenwolf.
Yes, thank you.
That's Steppenwolf. But, so, and I can see this being fairly standalone because you're dealing with a lot of characters who don't necessarily interact with the rest of the, you don't need them to anyway.
They're arguably at their best when they don't interact with the rest.
So, yeah, so here's the description that I think Deadline...
Who's this from?
This is Deadline who gave us this description.
Alright, floor me, Deadline.
The New Gods was the genesis of the uber-villainous Darkseid, also called Fourth World. The Kirby creation... Oh, it's Jack Kirby, of course, we're talking about, the famous comics artist and writer. The Kirby creation debuted in a trilogy of related comics written and drawn by Kirby that were published in the very early 1970s. New Gods, Forever People, and Mr. Miracle. That was the three that made up the Fourth World trilogy. The New Gods came into existence after the world of the gods of classic mythology were destroyed during Ragnarok. The deities inhabited two planets. One is New Genesis, a lush paradise, and the other is Apocalypse, which sounds like Dante's version of hell. War ensues. 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 Ensues.
Ensues.
I'm wearing shoes. I'm in shoes.
Are you really inside?
Oh, I always wear shoes. I don't like walking about in my socks or bare feet. I'm not a fan.
Slippers are invented for.
I don't like. They're too soft. I don't like it. I feel uncomfortable. I don't like it.
They're too soft. I don't. Sorry.
What do you want from me? Look, we got a New Gods movie.
Yeah. And I'm focusing on your shoes for some reason.
And she's a fan of Big Barda, so I'm expecting Barda and Mr. Miracle to play a big part. And I think it's also kind of nice that right now we've got this groundbreaking Mr. Miracle series that focuses on Miracle and Barda. And I feel like the main, or at least part of the main plot of this has to be like the story of him breaking out and falling in love with Barda, right? That has to be part of it.
Probably. I can see... for anyone who doesn't know, Darkseid and Highfather, the leaders of the respective planets, they swapped children as part of a truce.
Yes. Darkseid, of course, is the leader of Apocalypse, the evil place, and then Highfather's the leader of New Genesis, which is the nice place.
Right. So what I can see happening is, they're talking about the war ensues. I can see that almost being the prologue of the movie.
Oh yeah,
and the prologue have the swapping of the sons.
Yeah, but then Mr. Miracle, Scott Free is his name. Pun intended, because he's an escape artist, you see. He'll be locked up and it'll be about him trying to escape. And I don't think that'll be the main plot of the movie. I think it's going to be a movie with like 2 or 3 main plots that kind of intertwine. And I think that'll be what. I don't know if that'll be. I think I can see that almost more as a side plot where he'll escape and come and help out in the third act. But obviously his stuff will interact with Barda while he's there, so that'll make sense. Yeah. I'll be honest, the thought of a Granny Goodness on screen is kind of interesting to me.
And terrifying, potentially.
And of course we'll have Orion, we'll have Light Ray, we'll have a bunch of characters, probably.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is a bit of a deeper dive. I feel these are all characters that most general public will not know. This will be something where they are presenting this to the audience, for the most part, as a new thing that they don't understand.
Right.
So...
things that excite me. For all the, I'm hearing mixed things about A Wrinkle in Time in terms of reviews.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing a very common theme is that, okay, the story's not adapted amazingly, but it looks beautiful.
Okay.
And visually, the Fourth World stuff is, off the charts.
Yeah, visuals and atmosphere.
Design, aesthetic, yeah.
That's what we want, visuals and atmosphere. And if you give her a good script, if this Carrie O'Salem character, if he can deliver a good script...
Yeah. So I'm hoping this is going to look amazing to grab the general public.
Yeah.
Obviously, you back that up with a good script, but, just in terms of getting people in the first place. This needs to be a longish movie, right? This can't be that short. This has got to be...
2.5 at least.
2.5 to 3 in that range. It's got to be. You can't pull out a Dark Tower and give me some 90-minute crap. This is going to be... like I said, I don't envy the task of adapting this because it's dense as shit to try and go through all this. There's so many characters.
Yep. Nothing else to add except I'm definitely...
I'm seeing lots of fan casting around.
Yeah, my curiosity is piqued, certainly. The big tall Captain Phasma. Yeah, they want her as Barda. I don't know if I'm necessarily on board with that casting. I get that she's tall and she's tough looking, but I'm not getting Barda from her.
I don't know. Because you haven't seen her in Game of Thrones, have you?
Nah, that's true.
She kind of has that quality to her.
Yeah, I saw one that had Oscar Isaacs as Orion.
Interesting. I was seeing Oscar Isaac as Scott.
I can see that. I can see that.
which I can see more than Orion personally.
I actually kind of like this one. I saw Adam Scott as Scott Free.
Oh, that's not bad.
I can see that one.
That's not bad actually.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Now we could sit here and fan cast all day.
Yeah,
so
I typically don't do fan casting. I just kind of see
Yeah.
what people there and make my opinion on their choice.
yeah. It's kind of like how Gwendolyn Christie's really obvious for Barda that I don't like it because it's too obvious. I also saw Granny Goodness as Kathy Bates, and I went, yeah, I mean it works, but it's too on the nose for me.
Yeah, I did see Mitch Gerards, who is the current artist on this, Mr. Miracle series we're talking about, which is the big New Gods thing that's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
He tweeted going, "Oh, he's seen all these fan castings," and he's like, he basically went, "Nah, piss off. You guys don't get the characters. I live these characters. You're all wrong."
Did they not offer any suggestions?
No, he didn't. He kept them to himself, but he was very bitter.
I feel like that was building to a punchline where he's like, "No, I love these characters. You can all piss off," and then he picks someone really stupid, as
I don't know. I think he's just bitter.
like Jesse Eisenberg. He's scot free.
I can think of worse choices.
I just used him because he's Lex Luthor. That was kind of my connection there. I
got that.
I didn't have anyone and really stupid for it. I don't know.
No.
Like, how about, I don't know, who's a small person for Barda? Someone who's like 5'2" for Barda. Just
Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick for Barda. And as much as you love Anna Kendrick, that's not
the right choice.
It's not appropriate casting.
I'm not fighting for that.
No, it's not. No, Barda needs to be at least 6 foot.
Minimum. Or if not, they're doing some damn good, forced perspective trickery.
Yeah, they put her on some stilts.
Yeah. Problem is, she's got to be kind of built as well. Like,
Yep.
she's got to be broad as well as tall.
Yep. So hey, let's move on. Quick thing here, but Nicolas Cage finally gets to play Superman.
Yes, he does. This is beautiful.
Teen Titans Go to the movies is a thing, and obviously it's focused on Teen Titans characters, but there are going to be appearances by Superman, Wonder Woman and Green Lantern, and they've cast 3 people in those roles. We've got Nicolas Cage as Superman, we've got Halsey as Wonder Woman, and we've got Little Yachty as Green Lantern. These other 2 people, I don't understand these 2.
Halsey's a singer, right?
I don't know, I've never heard of it.
I'm pretty sure she is.
I say it because I don't even know what gender we were talking about. It's just her. Oh, sure.
Well, it's Wonder Woman for a start.
That's a good point. Yeah, I never even thought of that. Hey, sometimes people can do voices for other genders.
No, they can.
Bart Simpson's a woman.
Very famously, yes.
Yeah, so shut up.
I'm not disputing that. I'm just, typically it's a good indication as to where to start looking.
Lil Yachty? I don't even know what
I'm assuming a rapper.
What Lil Yachty
name,
is?
But I don't know. Honestly, I'm kind of looking forward to this movie. I love Teen Titans Go.
What's next? Snooki as Catwoman?
Why not?
And I say that because she also has a stupid name that doesn't sound like a real word.
Agreed.
And I'm assuming it's Yachty, because it's spelled like yacht with a Y at the end.
Yeah, it's got to be Yachty.
It's such a stupid name, though, that I wouldn't even be surprised if I was correct. It's actually Little Yakty.
Yeah.
Or Little Yachty.
Yeah, imagine if it was Yachty. It might be for all. I like that. I'm assuming a rapper based on the name. But, yeah, I don't know.
Whatever. I mean, honestly, the teaser trailer for this was actually kind of funny. I'd never seen the show before, but it looks kind of entertaining.
It's a children's Always Sunny.
I could be on board to watch this, actually, with that description.
It's the Teen Titans, and they're all awful people, and they're awful to each other, and it's amazing.
You're selling me on it. Moving on, we've got a bit of a casting change for Captain Marvel coming up here. DeWanda Wise was supposed to be playing a role in there, but she had to leave for scheduling conflicts. Her Netflix show, She's Got to Have It, got renewed for a second season. Clearly she wasn't expecting it, because now the second season's conflicting with shooting Captain Marvel. So she had to abandon the film, and they've actually already got someone in talks. Lashana Lynch is in talks to take over her role in the movie. So that's the thing. So, and obviously the movie, I mean, I've got a description here, but it's Captain Marvel, set in the 90s, she gets her powers, and
Yeah, we've been through all this already.
blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, so, worth mentioning, some casting changes. And speaking of Marvel, actually, so here was the thing that I was hinting at before with maybe looking at the effect that Black Panther's success has had on the next... Because we were kind of joking last week, I think, about how, well... You know, maybe Black Panther will actually beat Infinity War now, right? Because think about it, like you know, Infinity War is the third Avengers. You know, 2 didn't do as well as 1, but then there's also the idea that this is the culmination of all these years. So maybe it'll do
but
even
if this
better.
underperforms, even by just a little, like 5%.
So here's the thing, right? One of the things I said though when we were sort of wrapping up that conversation is that, on the other hand, though, because Black Panther's heavily featured in Infinity War, all the new fans from that will, you know, add on to the regular Avengers fans, and it'll be even bigger because of that.
Yeah.
So Black Panther, quite famously at the time when the pre-orders went up on Fandango, broke their records for any superhero movie. Right? It beat the previous record holder was unfortunately Batman v Superman, but it beat it. Infinity War tickets went on sale today and beat Black Panther in 6 hours. So
what's it tracking just based off that? Because they usually tell you that information.
Oh, they never told me today. Maybe it's too early to tell. But they're apparently, like, I was hearing reports of people's showings were already sold out, like, for the first weekend, and so on.
Oh.
This might be huge, and this is the funny thing. Black Panther does huge. All of a sudden, all the magazines, oh, here's Black Panther's sister on a cover because she's in Infinity War. Now we can use that to promote it, and it's a big deal now. And we already saw from the trailers that it looks like the big action set piece is going to take place in Wakanda at the end. That's what it looks like from the trailers.
Sure.
You've seen the first one, and that was also in the first one.
I've seen it once.
And they've basically kind of confirmed that. That's where the big kind of finale fight's going to end up happening. So, yeah, they're really... It's almost worked out beautifully for them that they had this big breakout success, and it feeds so directly into this next one that's coming out a few months later that it might actually end up...
No, it's true. I mean, of course, like you say, this isn't the be-all, end-all, because, as you say, BVS was the previous record holder. And
absolutely.
That did not, do spectacularly at the box office.
That said, I feel like it's worth making a bold call here. I think this breaks 2 billion.
You reckon?
The first did 1.5. It's been 6 years, so you get a bit of inflation to take into account here. I think it could do it. I think it could break 2 billion. It's not getting anywhere near Avatar. We're not there yet. But I think it could beat. I think it could beat 2 billion. I think it could crack that nut.
I don't know.
I would say it's definitely going to do it. I'm saying it could.
I think it tops at this point. I feel like it tops the 1.5, but I'm not sure if it does it all the way to 2.
Yeah, what are you thinking? 1.7, 1.8?
1.8, yeah, that sort of range.
Oh, I can see that too.
Which is still, they'll be extremely happy with, obviously.
Oh, of course. I'm seeing this Black Panther multiplier effect. It's like a combo.
It's hard to predict right now. It really is.
It's a combo. And I feel like, and I don't think that's going to carry forward to Ant-Man. Ant-Man and Wasp will do fine, but it's not going to break the bank.
It might do. I think it'll do better than the first Ant-Man, based on its coming soon after, Avengers. So people will still be kind of on that train.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, I could see it doing big things. I mean, obviously we expect fairly big things anyway, but I feel like, end of an era or start of the end of an era, combined with the fact that it's very Black Panther focused, right after Black Panther just excited everyone.
On that note, where you said, start at the end of an era, I did see them talk about that this week. They said it's not a true 2-parter in the way people are expecting it. They said this one ends, it's not entire own story. It's not going to be some cliffhanger. That's what they've said this week. How true that is remains to be seen.
So it's funny though, because the new trailer came out, and I'll mention it briefly when we get to it, but I watched this trailer, and honestly, at the end of it, I'm like, yeah, there's no way this is ending with a neat ending. Like, the entire time I felt like, no, this is ending with Thanos winning, and we have to beat him next time.
That's very possible. I think we've been speculating about it for a long time now.
Yeah. But if they're telling the truth, then, like, what the hell's the fourth one going to be then?
I don't know. I really don't. And are they telling the truth? Is that setting right?
I don't know if they are.
I mean, Assuming there's wild speculation about Cap and Iron Man dying, all the things that have been going around
All
for
the usual,
years.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's say those all come true. Is Avengers 4 actually the birth of the next team?
It could be, because we're seeing that as the end of the era, and we're seeing it as Phase 4 starts after Avengers 4, right?
Right.
It's entirely possible, yeah, that Avengers 4 might end up being New Avengers, and that's when we have Captain Marvel, Black Panther, maybe Spider-Man, whoever.
Right. Maybe it's more of maybe it is a transitionary film more, where it's a bit of a mix. But
will that feel oddly small after Infinity War, where it's been Thanos, who we've been building up to for all these years, and then...
I think it probably will, but if you don't, then Avengers 5 is going to feel small. Assuming it happens soonish.
Yeah, but I think there's still some sort of connection here, though, because Avengers 4 is coming a year after Avengers 3.
No, I agree. And they shot back to back. Like, there was one
same
extended
directors,
shoot.
same writers, like...
No, I agree with all of this. The evidence points to this, but they are outright telling me that it's not. And of course, directors lie. We know this.
Here's the thing. Here's what I'm thinking here. I'm thinking it's somewhere in the middle. I think they are playing with their wording because they feel confident what they're saying is true, but there's still going to be elements that make this kind of a two-parter.
Probably. They were the headline was not a true two-parter.
Yeah, look at that
very
word.
Intentional.
True
yeah, exactly.
two-parter.
So it kind of is, but it's kind of not. I don't know.
I don't know. But hey ho, so Infinity War is coming next month. Everyone be excited, and hopefully we get a. Hopefully it surprises Connor.
I'll be honest. I'm more excited at all this talk of what just the speculation, the idea than I am about actually watching it.
Well, I'll tell you this: there was a glimpse in the trailer this week of interaction between characters we've never seen interact before, and it made me a little bit giddy.
Cool.
So
this is partially why I'm not watching the trailers, because I can hopefully be just completely floored by that stuff when I view it, and I'll get the impact and I won't come out of it feeling a bit underwhelmed. Or because I know, especially with Marvel trailers, they're particularly guilty of showing too much.
Oh, they absolutely are.
By the time where I get to it, I'm like, okay, it's this bit from the trailer.
Oh, honestly, the biggest thing from the new trailer, I don't know we're at trailers yet, but since we're talking about Infinity War, the biggest thing, honestly, is that it's like, okay, last trailer it was just like, oh, the Guardians aren't with everyone else. There's just a little tease at the end. Oh, they're coming. This one's like, no, they're interacting and they're around.
Yeah, which is to be expected. It's weird. A trailer, we're like a month away. Who needs another trailer to convince them at this point with Avengers 3?
But at the same time, to be fair to them in this occasion, like, this is only the second trailer at all. There's been nothing else.
No, okay. There's been some TV spots and stuff.
Well, there's always TV spots, but you don't count that with a trailer count.
No, that's true. Oh, okay. But I get what you're saying. It's shocking that, like...
As opposed to Spider-Man, which had, like, 5 trailers.
That, if I recall, did that not have the villain's defeat in the skies in the trailer? In one of them, anyway.
I don't remember. But I do remember feeling like, man, they've shown too much of this. And I was actually kind of surprised when I saw the movie. They'd actually kept a fair amount that I didn't expect secret. But it felt like from the trailers that I'd seen too much.
No, I agree. Even Thor Ragnarok, like the whole, like the first trailer, the whole big thing was Hulk's here.
Yeah.
And in the movie, it treats it like it's going to be a surprise.
Which is weird.
Like, it is weird. Like, it builds up to it. It's like they're teasing, oh, who could this be? And like, obviously, we're all like, yeah, well, we know who this is.
Yeah. But hey, so let's move on. We're inflating the length of this by talking so much about New Gods and what Marvel might be doing in Phase 4.
comic books.
Well, before we break out the comic book section, though, we actually do have...
Oh, more.
We have one more thing. So Spike Lee, of all people, is in talks with Sony to direct a movie about Nightwatch.
Okay.
Do you know who Nightwatch is?
Oh. Should I?
I didn't know who it was either. I actually kind of like the sound of him, though. Like, when I read this description, I thought, oh, this is kind of cool. I think it's someone they have based on having the rights to Spider-Man. It mentions he's teamed up with Spider-Man and Captain America and Deathlock in the past.
Oh, so this is a Marvel character, okay.
This is a Marvel character.
Tells you how little I knew about this.
Yeah, that Sony owned the rights to. So I assume that this kind of was part of the package with Spider-Man when it came to rights to characters. Meaning he probably had his first appearance in the Spider-Man book. It doesn't mention that in this description, but that's a kind of fair assumption, I think, based on them having the rights. But yeah, so apparently the deal's in early stages, so it's no guarantee yet. The script, though, is being written by Luke Cage showrunner Chio Hidari Coker. So he's writing the script for it. So Night Watch was first introduced in 1993 as the alter ego of African-American scientist Dr. Kevin Trench, who witnessed a costume man die battling terrorists while armed with an invisibility-generating cloaking device. Trench learned later that the corpse was actually an older version of himself. So we got some timey-wimey stuff going on here. He went on to steal the futuristic suit of armor to discover the origins of his alternate self. The superhero teamed up with Spider-Man, Captain America, and Deathlock, among other heroes in the comic books. So it could either be time travel, or maybe the way it's phrased that there's maybe it's alternate universe version of him.
Yeah.
Well, I like that part. I actually kind of like that he finds some hero who dies, and he's like, oh wait, that's me. That's older. Shit.
No, that sounds alright.
Right,
here's the money question, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yes or no? Connected to the Spider-Man extended universe or standalone?
They haven't said, but it potentially will be.
Of course. This screams just be a standalone movie.
It does. It actually sounds like a really fun concept.
No, it does.
I'm kind of down for the character just from that description.
I mean, Spike Lee, but
Yeah, I'm not big in Spike Lee, but I mean, we'll see if that actually happens. I've just not liked that much from what I've read of him, or what I've seen of him. I should say. But that's the comic book movie news, so we can actually move on to the regular general movie news. So starting up, we seem to keep coming back to this Tarantino movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Just a quick thing here, though. Margot Robbie's officially in talks to play Sharon Tate in the film. So we have like 3 movies coming out in the next couple of years with Sharon Tate in them in some capacity. This will definitely be the highest profile one, I think it's fair to say. Especially if it is Margot Robbie who ends up playing her. So that's a thing.
Yeah. Cool.
So that's Tarantino's 1969 movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She'd be joining Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio in the film. So there you go. Moving on, we have a cast that's been added to Netflix's new film that's in the works. This is the Dan Gilroy written, directed film with Jake Gyllenhaal. Why is that important? Because they worked together on a film before called Nightcrawler, which was pretty damn good.
Damn good, yeah.
Rene Russo is also in this as well, so it's like a whole, it's a big reunion for all the leads. But we've got an entire cast now that's been added to this. Natalie Dyer, who you'll know from Stranger Things, she's the older sister.
Yes.
Whose name I'm blanking on at this time. It's been a couple of months now for this season 2.
Yeah, I'm gone.
Yeah. Tom Sturridge is in there. Hamilton's David Diggs. Toni Collette, who of course you might remember from things like Sixth Sense and various other things. John Malkovich, of course, is a name. Billy Magnuson and Zawe Ashton have all been added to the cast. So that's properly. There's no title for this yet, seemingly. It just says Netflix's new movie, but it'll begin shooting earlier this month, or it has begun shooting earlier this month in LA, and revolves around a big money artist and mega collectors who pay a high price when art collides with commerce. So,
the topic doesn't necessarily grab me, but you told me who was attached, so.
Oh yeah, this is easily. Hopefully, this doesn't end up like Mute, where Dan Gilroy disappoints us with his next movie.
I honestly don't think anything's going to disappoint me this year as much as Mute did.
No.
I will be shocked if something disappoints me more.
I gave my most disappointing award to Alien Covenant for last year. I think this year Mute's a lock, at least until. The only thing that could disappoint me more is the new Halloween movie. That could be a personal attack on my character.
But
that sucks.
The thing is, will it be? Is there any way it can be as bad as the zombie one?
Oh, it can't be, no.
So it can't be as disappointing.
Well, no, it can though. If Michael Myers starts like doing a rave dance in the middle of the film or something, it's possible. Is all I'm saying.
Okay.
It's possible. Moving on, another little quick update in terms of casting here. If you remember Pale Blue Dot, which Natalie Portman's going to be in,
Yes, I remember that sounded pretty damn good.
Yeah, this is the film that follows a successful female astronaut who, after coming back home from a mission in space, starts to unravel when confronted by her seemingly perfect life. The film explores the theory that astronauts who spend long periods of time in space lose their sense of reality when they return home. The big thing, of course, at the time when we talked about this being announced, is that Noah Hawley is directing it. So, we've got talent involved. The news this week with this film is that John Hamm has now been added to the cast. And I like John Hamm, so that's good news.
Yeah, me too. That's all right.
That's good. So move quickly on because I feel like just some quick updates there. Next up, Universal set a release date of June 12th, 2020 for The Rock's action thriller Red Notice.
Another one?
Another one, yes. He's reteaming with his Skyscraper and Central Intelligence writer-director Rawson Marshall Thuber. The actor plays an Interpol agent tasked with capturing the most wanted art thief in the world. Not a lot to go on, but it's a Rock action movie. Could be fun.
I kind of know what to expect, give or take.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, I kind of know what I'm getting.
You know what? I'm oddly optimistic about Skyscraper. That's exactly the type of dumb action movie I could really like.
Yeah, it looks more. It sounds and looks more dumb action movie than this does.
Yeah. So here's hoping. Next up, 20th Century Fox has got Scott Frank to rewrite The Force, which is an adaptation of the best-selling NYPD corrupt cop thriller novel by Don Winslow. James Mangold's been developing this to direct, so obviously we like James Mangold, did Logan last.
We do, yes.
He's working on something else as well. We talked about it in the news a couple of weeks ago, but he is working on this to direct, so it's getting rewritten. This reunites him with Frank, who, with Michael Green, got an Oscar nomination for Logan. So
yes.
So we got some of the same people there. So we got good people behind this. So it's been a high priority for Fox since they acquired the book rights for Seven Figures in 2016 before it even had a title. So this was one of these preemptive ones where the book wasn't even out yet, and they were like, "Hey, that sounds good. Let's have that, so we can make a movie."
Yeah.
The novel reads like a Sidney Lumet movie, which is good because I like that director. So that's a good thing to say. And is a close cousin to police corruption film Serpico, which was a Lumet film, Prince of the City and The Departed, and tells the story of a corrupt detective in the NYPD's most elite crime-fighting unit. Sergeant Danny Malone is forced to choose between his family, his partners, and his life. To stop the city's long simmering racial tensions from exploding, he must reconcile the idealistic guardian he still views himself to be with the corrupt cop he's become. He then finds himself attacked on all sides. Harlem drug gangs, the mob he's in bed with, the brother cops he's about to destroy, the mayor's office who fears what he knows and who he can implicate, and then the relentless federal investigators who want to put him behind bars, but most of all, his own demons. So you've got a corrupt cop who's kind of deciding that he's done being corrupt and he wants to take everyone down. This is the thing, like, obviously there's certain like sort of cop crime things that typically just sound kind of generic to me, and there's nothing about this necessarily that's like, oh, this is unique or whatever. But I think with not Dan Gilroy, sorry, that was the previous one, James Mangold. With James Mangold behind it, with his writer that he's worked with before, and then comparing it to Sidney Lumet films, I've not seen Serpico itself. I've had the Serpico Blu-ray sitting on my damn shelf for about 3 years, and I've still not got to watch it.
We'll get to it.
That's an influx in the making at some point. I promise that. But comparing it to his films with that talent, I'm like, I can see how this could be great.
I'm with you. If you just read me that premise, I'd go, yeah, all right then.
But that premise with talent that I know can deliver quality,
that's
like,
where I go, okay,
yeah.
I'll watch this.
That's where I'm like, okay, I can kind of see the tension.
Yeah, I'm not going to be excited until I see a trailer.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's the sort of thing where I go, it's on my radar now. Whereas if it was just the description, I probably would have forgotten about this by the end of this video.
I think this is screaming potential. Because I think Mangold, if I'm right, he did Copland, which was like a sort of, it was the town where all the cops from the city lived because they like to live away from the city, and Stallone was the sheriff in the small town, but they were all corrupt, and he like goes to take them all down. I think that was Mangold, and that was fantastic. So,
cool.
Yeah, I see a lot of potential here with this. So that is The Force, that's called.
Cool.
Nice double meaning there as well.
It is, yeah. I'm always a fan of that.
Yeah. So next up, we've got a bunch of cast added to the Al Capone biopic, in which Tom Hardy is going to play Al Capone. That was already known. The new cast are Linda Cardinelli, to Freaks and Geeks, Avengers: Age of Ultron, a bunch of stuff. Matt Dillon, who also a bunch of stuff. Kelly MacLachlan, Dougie Jones himself is,
of course.
is going to be in this movie. Of course, Twin Peaks is what I'm referencing there, and obviously he's been in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., he's been in Blue Velvet, a bunch of stuff. And then Catherine Narducci, who I do not know. That's the only one of them that I don't know. I can't put a face to that name. But the film's called Fonzo. It's written and directed by... This is actually the most surprising part to me, is I was reading this news story, right? Because I didn't know this was in the works yet, you know, because this has not come up whilst we've been doing this news.
Yeah.
Written and directed by Josh Trank.
Oh, someone let him make another movie?
That is the interesting part here. Josh Trank, of course, crashed and burned with Fantastic Four and get fired off of a Star Wars movie.
Pretty infamously as well.
So this is a pretty good... I mean, do you think Tom Hardy would put up with his shit?
Tom Hardy would punch the little shit.
He would. Tom Hardy would break this guy's neck if he tried pulling his shit on the set.
I think that might be the only thing keeping him alive. Tom Hardy's like, you don't do this right, I'm breaking your fingers one by one. You know.
There's something about Tom Hardy. I just imagine him being Bronson when he's like in between takes. That's just all I think of it.
Was it him, that news story like 2 months ago where he stopped the robbery when he was on a motorbike? That
sounds familiar. I don't know. I don't want to confirm it, but
no, I'm sure that was him. Where he just stopped this robbery. Like I'm like, yeah. That's what I expect from Tom Hardy.
Yeah, Tom Hardy's an actual vigilante. He just doesn't let anyone know about it.
Yeah, exactly.
But hey, so that's the thing. So next up, so just to give you a description. Capone. If you don't know who Al Capone was, just in case. Well, you may
brush up on some history.
Hey, you may be a teenager. You may, I think we probably have some teenage listeners or viewers.
We do, and I'm saying even to the teenagers, go and look up some history.
But just to give you a starter, alright, Capone was a ruthless mobster who ruled Chicago with an iron fist during the 1920s. He was prosecuted for tax evasion in 1931 and imprisoned. That's a famous running joke that's what they caught him for. He was up to so much stuff, but that's what
they just settled for that. It's like, we can get you.
We can get you with this and put you behind bars. It's one of those things. I'll just take care of the paperwork as well.
Yeah, we'll take what we can get.
He died at the age of 47, following nearly a decade of imprisonment. He died of dementia, so didn't actually live that long. Died at 47, which I actually did not know. I didn't know that part off the top of my head. That's how young he died.
I knew that. I think honestly, for most people, the story stops once he hits prison. No one really cares after that.
That's very true. You think of the Untouchables, maybe. In which Robert De Niro played Al Capone.
Yeah, all the interesting stuff is right up till he's in jail, and it's like he's in jail now. We don't care.
Yeah, and of course he was in Boardwalk Empire. I know people love that show. There was a version of him in that. All right, so next up, Ama Asante has been set to direct the upcoming adaptation of David E. Hoffman's. See, this is proof that it's not just tough names. Sometimes I'll just blunder a regular name.
You can't do anything, yeah.
David E. Hoffman's drama thriller, The $1 Billion Spy. So this is for Walden Media and Weed Road Pictures. The $1 Billion Spy is the true story of a man who became the Pentagon's most valuable spy during the last years of the Cold War. Despite numerous rejections by cautious CIA on the lookout for undercover KGB agents, Adolf G. Tolkachev, the chief designer at the USSR's Research Institute of Radio Engineering, handed over tens of thousands of pages of highly classified documents to the US. Tolkachev quickly became the crown jewel of the CIA's spy network, though in return his greatest ask was gifts for his son. For years, Tolkachev and his handler successfully eluded the KGB in its own backyard until the day came when a shocking betrayal put all of them at risk. It seems like it's something that's worth making a story about.
It does. I'll be honest. It doesn't live up to the title.
The $1 Billion Spy. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be like a cheesy action movie with like a really even more cheesy version of James Bond.
It sounds like a Bond movie.
Yeah. But hey, it sounds fine. It sounds fine. Having seen some of the first season of The Americans, I'm getting like some of those vibes. Even though that was the opposite, where it was Russians in the US, I'm getting kind of like, it'll be the other way around, with him sneaking things out and whatnot. But hey,
I get you.
So that's that. Which does take us on to trailers.
Oh, we made it.
We made it to trailers. We're halfway through. As always, forgive me if it takes me a second to remember what each one of these is when we get to them, because there's like a lot of them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's fine. You first. I know your first one.
Infinity War.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll mute out when once you start going on that one.
I'm not going to say them honestly. Like I already said, kind of what I wanted to say earlier. It was basically here's some interactions that you didn't see before. A couple of funny one-liners. Like wasn't Are you still muting me?
What's that? You done?
I wasn't saying anything spoilery. I said, oh,
I just assumed.
all I said was a couple of funny one-liners. There's like stuff, interactions we've not seen before. There's no spoiler details. I don't have any to give. Again, though, I like that they're still using the music. Like there's still a lot of the main theme in the trailer. So
Alright, cool.
that's good. Don't have to be such an awkward little shit. There's not much to talk about with the actual contents.
People will find a way.
Alright, well, let's get to a trailer that you care about a lot more than I do.
Yes, yeah, that is true.
Obviously, I sped through Infinity War because A, he doesn't want to talk about it, and B, it's a second trailer, so there's not a whole lot more to add. It's a Marvel movie.
And C, we just kind of did a big talk about Infinity War.
We did, yeah. So, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald was, of course, the other big trailer this week. Well, go on. You care about Harry Potter that much. What do you think?
I love this trailer. It grabs me, and it kind of cheats in places. It starts with big shots of Hogwarts. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling it. And to all the people going on that, you can't apparate onto Hogwarts. Fine.
You can't what onto Hogwarts?
Apparate. Where they teleport basically.
Just say teleport then.
No, because it's called apparating.
So you can't typically teleport onto Hogwarts, but these guys teleported.
They teleport to the edge of the grounds on the bridge. One, Dumbledore could, because he presumably made the charm that stops it. And two, might be before he made that charm, so they can just do whatever they want. Just shutting those people up because they're out there. There's lots of them on the internet, and they're annoying me.
Trust me, I'm not one of them. Go on.
No, I know. But yeah, okay, so we got the actual Hogwartsy stuff. You got them coming for Dumbledore, going, okay, Newt's working for you. I like all that stuff. I will say Dumbledore's a little more plainly dressed than I would have pictured. I don't know. Dumbledore's typically pretty outlandish in his style, where he looks rather fashionable here, it's not very Dumbledore-esque.
Maybe he gets more of a wild side as he goes on.
He might well do. He might well. But of course, we get to the actual Newt stuff. Creatures abound, adventure,
and somehow the characters from the first movie are back, seemingly.
Yes, we've known that for a long time. But
I didn't know it. But I mean, even if you knew it, like I still have to question because there's a whole big because they erased his buddy's memory at the end.
No, it was a whole big moment.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the idea of the memory charms being undone is a thing. It can be broken, and so it's possible. But I will say it can maybe deflate that moment in that first movie.
Yeah, honestly, like for me in the first movie, the characters were what made it likable, especially the supporting cast. So I feel like, I don't really care that much about the actual mythology of what's going on.
No, that's fair.
Grindelwald and all the rest.
I'm a sucker for all this. Don't know. I really like those characters too. It was very Doctor Who, that first movie.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily a big fan of the Ezra Miller plot.
I will concede, not the best.
But hey, so this one's in Paris, so you get in Paris instead of New York.
Yeah, I think the plan was to do one major city per film, 5 films.
That tracks.
Yeah, but I'm okay with this. It looks pretty great.
Honestly, it looks like another David Yates Harry Potter movie,
which I love. So
that's fine. I feel like they've all. I mean, I know obviously it's not Harry Potter, but it still kind of feels like it's the same style, same color scheme, same everything.
Agreed. This even more so than the last one because we're actually dealing. It's a bit. The last one's a bit more removed. It didn't show too much. This one's leaning on the connections a bit more.
Do you know what that is? It's like, people may have been disappointed with the first one. Let's put Hogwarts a lot in this one so they're excited again because actual Harry Potter connections.
Quite possibly, but the first one performed pretty well.
Oh, sure.
Most reviewed pretty well. Most people are pretty happy with it. But I can see the cynical side. I'm a cynical man.
Yeah, and to be fair, I didn't dislike the first one. Just to make that clear, I thought it was fine. I thought it was fine. I thought it was a little bit forgettable. And
You just no, I agree. I think it's helped a lot by the people like me who have a big connection to Harry Potter, which you don't have.
no.
But I agree. I don't think it's the best movie ever, but I do love it for what it is. But this one, I'm looking forward to getting into more of the lore. But the characters back is great because, like you say, they were probably the best part of that movie.
Okay, there you go. That's a Fantastic Beasts. Probably one that you and Matt will review, I think, when it hits. I feel like you two reviewing that's going to get way more out of it than me coming along to talk about it.
I don't know. I'd be intrigued to see if it can win you over a bit more.
Maybe, but I think you and Matt being there is probably good. Like, you weren't there for the last one, and I feel like
No, I'll definitely be there for this one though. Don't worry.
yeah, I feel like you two actually geeking out over the Harry Potter stuff would
I'll definitely be there for this one. But
be more useful.
yeah.
Next up we had a trailer for a film called Life Itself, which looks like a multi-story character drama that all intertwines with each other.
You're just saying that because it's from the creator of This Is Us.
I even know that, so no, I'm not just saying that.
It's the first thing you see in the trailer.
Clearly,
From the creator of This Is
I
Us.
watched like 14 trailers back to back. I don't remember it saying that.
No, I'll let you on.
Yeah, I was thinking more of other movies that do that, not This Is Us.
I'm just it even mentions in the opening of the description, multi-generational love story spanning both decades and continents.
What a hack! He's doing the same thing again.
This is Us, the movie, isn't it?
They could literally call us This Is Us too.
They could. They probably should have done.
Oh dear, This Is Also Us.
The list keeps going.
Hell, even Life Itself as a title's kind of similar when you think about it.
It's very much, what are you gonna do?
This is who we are. Life Itself. It just means the same thing, really.
It does.
It looks fine. I mean, this is the thing. This Is Us. We watched the pilot, and it was a solid enough show where, had we not been as busy that night every week, we might have kept watching it. It was fine. Arguably strong, even.
Yeah.
So I see no reason to think this couldn't be good. And you got Oscar Isaac in there and a few other cast members.
Yeah. I think this is the very hard sort of movie to sell in a trailer.
Yeah, this is the type of movie that you either just sort of stumble upon and put it on, or you specifically just go to it because you like the creators behind it.
It's why I think they're putting, from the creator of This Is Us front and center as the first thing you see, because they're like, you know what to expect now. You even though this is a kind of not the best trailer, because like you say, it's kind of trying to show fragments of all these things. When you tell people This Is Us, all the people who've seen that go, oh, yeah, okay, I see how that works.
It's a lot of cute little moments, but there's not like an overall story the trailer's telling.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, it's probably going to be a fine, dramedy.
Yeah, probably.
So that's kind of the vibes
I'll probably watch it at some point.
Next up, we had a film called Adrift, which what's her face, Shailene Woodley.
Yes.
And that dude who's in all the not young adult, but all the romance movies where they need a good looking, well cut boy to be there.
But typically slightly douchey.
Slightly douchey, and he's usually got his English accent going, which he does here. Sam Claflin, I think his name is.
Sounds about right.
So they fall in love, and the funny thing about this trailer is that it went on for a long time before it got to the premise, because for the first half of the trailer it was just them
doing cutesy things.
Yeah, he's got a beau, she's like into him, they fall in love, and for a long time it was like, oh, this is going to be a generic kind of one of these love story movies I never want to see, and I still might not want to see it, admittedly, but and then it's like, no, they're out in the boat, and I'm like, oh wait, is this about to take a dark turn? Because obviously the movie's called Adrift, so maybe I should have expected this, but I also thought, oh, maybe Adrift is just a metaphorical title.
Yeah, I thought that too. I was like, okay, I see where you've gone it because the boating's there.
Yeah.
But you're telling me so much on the romance of the opening of this that, okay.
But it did that thing. It almost did the red eye twist, because the red eye twist, of course, if you've not seen that trailer, the movie's just kind of mediocre, but the trailer's fantastic because it sells it as a romantic comedy, and then halfway through, Cillian Murphy just turns to, I think it's Rachel McAdams in the movie, it's just like, yeah, if you move I'm going to slit your throat, and then it's like, dun dun, it's dark, and it's just dark, and I'm like, holy shit, that took a turn. This kind of does the same thing where they're out in the boat, and then all of a sudden there's a news report, oh, this has just been upgraded to a Category 5 hurricane, and I'm like, where's this going?
Yeah, it becomes this disaster movie almost.
Yeah, it becomes this movie where he's injured, but he's still alive, but he can't do anything. He can't, he's staying lying down, and she has to, having no knowledge about boats, just listen to him describe. Okay, this is how you need to do this. Get the sail up. Try and call someone on the radio.
Navigate, boat your way back.
Stab some fish so we can eat.
Yeah.
So it's. Here's the thing. Like, if you just told me that part of the movie, I'd be like, oh, that sounds kind of good. That sounds like a good little, like, survival movie. They lean so hard into the soppy romance of it, though, that I'm kind of put off.
I agree. Plus, on the cast.
Yeah, I don't really like Sam Claflin that much. Ridley's okay, but I'm not.
I don't think I've ever seen her in anything I've liked her in.
She was alright.
She's always. Go on.
She was alright in Descendants, I think. I saw her in with George Clooney. She was okay in that.
Okay, I don't know. Everything I've seen her in, I've just gone. She's fine. She's inoffensive.
Yeah. Well, that's
I've
the thing.
never gone.
Now,
Oh, I want her lead in a movie.
now you think of Divergent and Insurgent and whatever those movies are.
Yeah, those things.
Yeah. So the cast and kind of the focus of the soppy romance kind of put me off. Whereas, honestly, the actual survival part, if you just told me that part of the plot, I'd be like, oh, that sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, I agree.
But as it is, it's kind of leaning against kind of anything I'd like about the movie. So, hey. Next up, we had a trailer for a film called 8th Grade, which is focusing on a girl in 8th grade who's got, spots on her face. In fact, one of the fun things I'll say about this trailer before we talk about anything else is how authentically 8th grade it feels. Everyone looks like they're cast at the right age.
No, it does, shockingly, because that's rare.
They feel super young, and it's like her. She does like social media, and she's like trying to like get followers on Twitter. She has little videos and stuff, and it's all about the awkwardness of being a kid and getting into that sort of just awkward part of teenage life. And honestly, I don't know if initially I'm excited about seeing it per se, but I actually thought this trailer really well presented it as this is a very authentic look at childhood, or those awkward teenage years.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like I said, I'm not excited to watch it. It's maybe I'll watch it at some point.
The moment in specific is when she's at the dinner table with her dad in the trailer, and he's trying to talk to her, and she's just kind of fobbing him off. And then, like, you get the bit later on where he's, like, giving some advice, like, you said I could say one thing, and it's just them, like, arguing with each other. But it felt very real, and it felt very, like, she cares about all these stupid things. She says the awkward thing to the boy that she kind of likes.
Yeah.
You get the awkwardness is like she's about to go out into the pool party, and she feels kind of like just insecure about like her body, and she's like feels weird about it. And I feel like this feels shockingly authentic to the point where I have to respect the just the attention to the detail and the.
No, I'll give you that. I will say the song choice. I feel like I hear it in trailers all the time. I can't remember the name of it now.
Was this the one with the Band of Horses track?
Maybe, I'm not familiar with the name.
There was two songs in trailers this week that I like. Oh, I know that song quite well.
Yeah, this is one of those things where I know because I hear it in trailers all the time, or at the end of an episode of TV.
It was either this or maybe one coming up had Band of Horses. No one loves you as much as I do, or no one's ever going to love you as much as I do. That was one of these trailers, but I don't know if it was this one.
Maybe I'm not familiar with that song by name.
No.
Maybe it is this one. I just don't know it, but
it may be. And there's another one later on. I'm actually kind of annoyed that I've forgotten these two because I was going to mention them and now I've completely forgotten what songs they were. But there was two songs this week that I was like, oh, I know that song. And I like those songs. They weren't songs that I disliked, so that's good.
This is from A24 as well, so I'm starting to notice them a lot more.
They're the Witch. Like
I'm looking. It says here some of their films that they did.
Yeah.
Moonlight, Ladybird, Disaster Artist, The Witch, Ex Machina.
It Comes at Night, I think, was A24.
Might well have been. Florida Project was them. Yeah,
they're pretty much the indie darling movies studio at this point, and they're pumping them out. And the funny thing is I would totally watch this, even though it's not one that excites me. But I would totally give this a chance because it looks like it could be a great film.
Oh, it definitely looks like it's got quality to it. Like I say, I don't know if I'm excited for it. I don't know if I'd go to the cinema and watch this, but. I'd watch it. Sure. Especially you put this on my TV, I'm going to sit there and watch it. Yeah,
and again, just I really have to stress the authenticity. I think the girl playing the main character, like she is like nailing that age. Obviously she is that age, but she's really nailing it. It's a very natural performance from what I'm seeing in the trailer.
Definitely.
So Full points on that.
No, and I just on A24, it's weird that there's very few studios where I'll look at them and go, oh, I actually follow what they do. But I'll get a little bit more interest because they're the ones doing it.
They're gaining a reputation for putting out good movies. Even if not every single one appeals to you specifically, they're all at least something different or high quality. They all have something to them that's like, no, they should be paid attention to. So it's true. Like, this is the one thing, because there's sometimes in trailers they'll say from the studio that brought you Predator. I'm like, that's 20th Century Fox. Why do I give a shit?
You've done a million movies. Yeah.
But A24, it's like, no, they tend to.
Their batting average is pretty high.
Yeah, so that's a good point. Next up, this will be a quick one. This was, and honestly, I didn't think this was that interesting enough to talk about. I only put it in because we talked about this coming to Netflix a couple of weeks ago, when it was taken out of a festival, and that is Paradox, the musical thing with Neil Diamond. Was it Neil Diamond?
Neil Young.
Neil Young. It was a Neil. I knew it was a Neil.
It was a Neil.
They're very different Neils, admittedly, but I knew it was a Neil. And it's honestly, this is a very abstract trailer that makes me think that this is not really a movie as much as it is just a series of like music videos.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So I'm not interested at all. I'm fine. If you like Neil Young,
I might watch it.
Yeah.
Just, because it'll be on Netflix, so it might just go on one day.
The next 3 trailers are all going to be films on Netflix.
Yeah, this is the Netflix section.
But yes, we have a Netflix section this week in the trailer section because
it's that week of the month.
So they put out a trailer for a film called Six Balloons. Dave Franco. Dave Franco's in this.
The other one.
He's an addict. He's a drug addict, and this movie's about him and his sister. His sister takes him on like a sort of road trip to try and get him off the drugs. And I thought this was an okay trailer. I think this kind of neatly set up. Okay, this is what their family is meant to be, and you think it's all idealistic, and then she like turns to him and says, roll up your sleeve.
It's doing all these things. It's like she's a daughter, a sister, all these things, and then it ends on she's an enabler. It's like, okay, I get it.
And it seems like it's going to be about her trying to like get him off the drugs, and honestly, as a little sort of, I don't want to quite say quirky, but as a little kind of drama with a tinge of comedy. Like at least
I know what you mean when you say quirky. It's almost that like young adult quirky thing.
Almost. It feels like it's going to be like, okay, it's about a serious topic, but it's going to have a sort of natural kind of humour to it because, in real life we kind of just joke about everything because that's how we get through it.
Yeah. People are the worst.
That's how we cope. So I'm getting some of those vibes.
Just on that, I watched Ricky Gervais's new Netflix stand-up this week.
Oh, was it good?
I'm a big fan of Ricky Gervais anyway.
I like Ricky Gervais.
But, yes, it is. He has a whole big thing about that very topic of why you laugh at all the awful things. Why some people will make funny funeral speeches. Because that can be a good thing.
Oh, anyone ever asked me to write a eulogy, you're getting a stand-up comedy routine.
No, I'm all down for that. Like personally, I think it has a nice mood in the room often when that's the case, when it's done well.
Yeah.
But the standout line from that is always there. It keeps coming back up. Is I should have left it. And once you watch it, that will be the line that sticks with you.
Okay. So this is called Six Balloons, by the way. I don't think I've ever said that, but it's called Six Balloons. This movie. It looks like a low key, nice little drama about what it is. Maybe it'll end up being more of a standout hit once people see it, and maybe it'll get good buzz. But from my perception right now, just looking at the trailer, I'm thinking that'll be a solid little watch that won't necessarily break the world in half.
Agreed. I'll be like, maybe if you got an hour and a half, 2 hour, however long it ends up being, just a spare Netflix. That'll do. Because
it's sort of thing I could see it, or before I saw it, I kind of felt the same way about that Paul Rudd one from like a year or two ago, where he's got the kid in the wheelchair.
The wheelchair. God, what's the name of that?
I can't remember the name of it. Selena Gomez was in it as well, but that ended up being really good. Like, that was a really good movie.
That's honestly might be one of Netflix's best original movies.
That was really good. I recommend watching that.
Try to find the name of it so we can recommend it properly.
Yeah, go on. You find the name.
The Fundamentals of Caring.
That's what it was. Fundamentals of Caring. That is a genuinely good, very funny, but kind of like humanistic take on the subject of him being a carer and looking after this kid. Really good stuff. The kid himself has got a really good sense of humor as well. So no, highly recommend that. But Six Balloons looks like it could maybe fall into that. Maybe not quite as funny because it's not dealing with a kid and it's But
Yeah, I know what you mean. But kind of hitting that sort of tone.
yeah, I can see it maybe doing that. Next up though, not a Netflix original movie. All these are coming either later March or early April. By the way, all these Netflix ones. Next one is called First Match, and this is about a woman who has kind of got a weird relationship with her father, who he lost custody a while ago, and she's kind of trying to sort of win him back over. She wants him in her life, despite the fact that he's maybe a bit of a scumbag. But she becomes very good at wrestling, and we were talking like classic sort of on the mat wrestling, not your entertainment variety.
Yeah, proper wrestling,
proper Olympic wrestling. And she starts
wrestling at the Olympics.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't pay attention to that much. I know they have a lot of martial arts things at the Olympics. I didn't know they had wrestling. I never watched it.
Well, there's a wrestler, Kurt Angle, who when he joined the company a long time ago, the big thing was he's an Olympic gold medalist. I assumed it was for wrestling. Admittedly, maybe it was for something completely different. I don't know.
No, because obviously I don't follow wrestling in any capacity,
Yeah.
Entertainment or genuine sport. So I
don't really watch the Olympics to have the knowledge that there's definitely. I associate this either high school wrestling or Olympic wrestling is kind of where I see it happening.
Yeah, fair.
Regardless, though. So she starts wrestling, but she starts wrestling the men. So she gets really good. And the story seems to be about how her dad kind of exploits her. Like, he kind of manipulates her, praising the fact that she wants him to be close to her, and uses her to actually get into rough fighting for money.
Yeah.
Sort of criminal stuff. And everyone else around her is kind of watching her kind of sort of self-implode because she's doing this on the side, and it's affecting her actual performance in the proper wrestling fights that she's trying to do. And it seems to be a story about how how awful her dad is, and her trying to get over the fact and sort of maybe stand up for herself and have self-respect. That's kind of what I'm seeing from it.
Yeah.
It could be good. The trailer's not necessarily exciting me that much. It's kind of...
I feel like the trailer lacks a bit of focus. It feels a bit bloated.
Feels a bit bloated. I think maybe if there was a touch more style to it, I might be a bit more into it.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I'm reading the description here. It mentions that it's their first feature film, the writer-director. So maybe that accounts for some of the lack of style.
Yeah, I mean, that said, though, maybe it's just the style doesn't translate to a trailer. It could
well be. Yeah.
It could be a very laid-back style that works for the story, but maybe doesn't go to a trailer very well. I feel like this is the sort of thing where I'm not excited about it, but I could believe you if you told me, if people who watch this tell me in a couple of weeks' time, by the way, that's actually really good, you should check that out. I wouldn't not believe them.
I know what you mean.
It's got that kind of thing where I can see it being a really generic kind of emotional sports drama, but I could also see it being a really well-made movie. It's hard to tell from the trailer on its own, because the acting seems fine from the trailer.
Yeah, there's very little I can actively fault with it. It just doesn't grab me.
It's not. Yeah, it's just there's no hook to it.
Yeah, it's just
there's a lot of right and left hooks, but there's no hook.
It's like, okay, that's a movie I could watch in a couple of weeks, but I'm not sure if I will.
That's called First Match, which I guess is also a bit of a double meaning, because it's like the first match ever in her life was really her and her father, and she's still fighting it. That's my interpretation of the title. And then finally, also from Netflix, we had a trailer called Happy Anniversary, in which John Ralphio from Parks and Rec is supposed to be a likeable, normal man. I'm sorry, I cannot not see John Ralphio when I look at him.
No, I get you.
So Happy Anniversary. He's been with his girlfriend for 3 years. Everything was all hunky dory, honeymoon phase at the start, and now it's like, do we still like each other? Are we still being romantic? And she's kind of cynical and thinks it's all doomed, and maybe they should split up. And he's trying to convince her they shouldn't. And it's just fine. You're just being very pessimistic about everything, and just trying to be upbeat about things. In fact, the line he says in the trailer is, "We're just so different. I see the glass is half full. She sees the water is poison." Was the line?
Yeah, that gave me a good chuckle.
Which is an okay line. Again, I have to admit, a lot of Netflix's movies, certainly their trailers, they're falling into this real middle ground territory where they all look very competent and fine, but they're not necessarily exciting on their own.
That's true. I think this trailer had a bit more style than most of them, though, because it had this narrator. It was cutting with the title cards. It had a better flow.
It was a bit more upbeat. Yeah, it had a bit more of an upbeat style to it. So I'll give it that. At the same time, though, I have to admit my expectations for this is a lot like Six Balloons, and to a slightly less extent, First Match, where I'm like, oh, it looks fine, and I might watch it, and it might be good. I might hear good things, but it's not blowing me away.
I think this one I liked a little bit more than the others.
That's fair,
but there's no guarantee, obviously. I did chuckle that the girl was the girlfriend in the first season of Master and None.
Oh, was she? Okay.
So she's jumping between that cast.
So what no, right, yeah, Parson, right, yeah, because that was Nzari.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, if I'm sort of ranking these three, not counting Paradox, because that's just a separate weird thing. I probably would be Happy Anniversary, then Six Balloons, then First Match. But they're all pretty close, and they're all kind of like, they all look like they could be good, but none of them are sticking out as being exciting.
Yeah, I agree with that. But like I said, if I'm going to stick one on first, it's probably going to be Happy Anniversary.
And maybe that's Netflix's original movies kind of in a nutshell right now. There's the odd standout every so often, but,
But they're pumping them out, so there's bound to be some gems in there eventually.
Yeah, but every so often we get a babysitter, a Fundamentals of Caring.
Yeah, and then every so often you get a mute.
Probably the highest anticipated of them all because of who was behind it, and then it came over and shit all over us. All right.
I'm still angry about that movie.
Next up, we get a trailer for Sorry to Bother You, which actually I'd heard of this one because when I was doing news like 3 or 4 weeks ago, during one of the festivals that were on, not South by Southwest because that's on right now, it was whatever was on like 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe the Berlin one or something, but this was getting a lot of buzz. People were talking about it. People were really like the people who were seeing it at the festival were really on board with it. Sorry to Bother You. It has a lot of notable actors, not the lead role per se. I don't recognise him, but Tessa Thompson's in there.
I swear every week she's in something else.
I know, Tessa Thompson, she's getting around, but hey, she's there. Danny Glover's in a small role. Terry Crews pops up, but this is a character. His life's he's got a bit of a schlub. He lives in the garage, to phrase it so everyone will understand what I was saying. The garage for everyone,
for the natives,
but garage for everyone else. He loves it because that's actually kind of a funny moment in the trailer. Is that you think they're in a bedroom, and then the garage door starts like lifting up, and it's like, oh shit, they're actually in there. It's kind of a funny moment, but the plot of this seems to be he gets a job as a telemarketer, as a salesman over the phone, and he's not doing very well. And then Danny Glover says, "Hey, use your white voice," and he's like, "What?" And obviously, it's a really over-the-top premise because Danny Glover says, "Watch this," and he starts talking, and he's clearly dubbed by someone else talking. Someone else is, a white guy is talking, and they've dubbed his voice over Danny Glover.
Part of me really hopes that is just the best impression ever out of nowhere.
Oh, you think Danny Glover's actually doing that voice?
I don't. But part of me just wants to believe the magic.
Yeah, and then of course our main character then starts doing the same thing as well, and he starts being really successful. It seems to be a really satirical comedy about how he puts on a white voice, and that makes him the best salesman ever because people start trusting him. A lot of satire potential. Like I said, good buzz out of the festivals, and honestly, the trailer's pretty entertaining.
It is. This looks pretty good. It's pretty funny. It's got a nice premise. It's got some messaging, satirical points to make. Yeah,
and I think the best part about it is that I think when it first starts with the voice thing, you're like, oh, this is a bit silly. But then it keeps going with it, and you realise
it leans into it so much.
Yeah, you realise, okay, this is the point. That they're making a point here with how silly this is, and that's kind of where it goes. So, like I say, it's a good supporting cast, really funny premise. It looks like it's generally going to be pretty entertaining, and over the top, and there's some moments of just absurdity going on as well in there. Real upbeat trailer as well. Sorry to Bother You. Which I guess is because that's the first thing one who's trying to sell someone something on the phone would say.
Pretty much, yeah.
Sorry to bother you, but so on.
I was really digging this trailer.
Yeah, no, it looks good.
Yeah, it's nice surprise. Because sometimes we get through these trailers, I feel like a lot of them are kind of just like, okay.
Yeah.
Just kind of watching it because they're in the list.
Yeah, obviously we had a few sort of middle of the road ones so far, but no, Sorry to Bother You looks pretty good. Next up. Now, I'm going to make an assumption here. I don't know much about the history of this tennis stuff, right? I've heard of John McEnroe, right? I'm going to assume the other name being foreign is Borge,
Yeah,
as opposed to Borg, as in the Star Trek villain.
probably.
Right? I'm going to assume it's Borg.
It's Swedish, right?
Yeah, I think so.
No, I'm listening to the trailer. It sounds like it says Borg.
This is Borg, okay.
It is Borg, yeah. Borg.
I thought I was going to sound like an idiot saying Borg, which is why I was really, prefacing that with all this stuff. However, if it is Borg, then great. It's called Borg v McEnroe. That's the name of the movie, and it tells the sort of true story of McEnroe challenging like the what at the time was the greatest tennis player there was, and it's basically the rise of McEnroe being his angry self and shouting at the umpire and everything else and blah 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 blah. You get Shia LaBeouf
doing Shia LaBeouf, basically.
Doing Shia LaBeouf, basically. This is almost perfect casting, I suppose. So I can't fault it that much, I guess. How did you feel about Borg v McEnroe?
I quite liked it, actually. I thought it had quite a nice style and flow to the trailer.
It was okay. I feel like it falls into, I'm not sure how excited I can be for this. I know it was a quote from someone else, because they put the quotes from like reviews in the trailer, but I really thought it was really bold to put in the quotes, the first proper tennis movie. I'm like, damn, that's a bit rough. Like, come on now. Come on now.
That said, how many tennis movies can you name?
Battle of the Sexes was out last year.
Touche.
That's one, admittedly, but
yeah.
I'm sure there's been more. I'm sure there's been more tennis movies.
I sometimes leave these trailers on to play muted when we're in the background, just to remind me as we're talking. It just got to the quote, the first truly great tennis movie.
That's what it was. That was the exact quote.
From Total Film.
Actually, I have to, if I'm going to criticize something in the trailer, sometimes it put a quote that was so long for a split second that there was no possible way. There's no possible way, unless you're freeze framing, that you could read some of these quotes. And at which point, like, most people who are going to see this are going to see it in the theater. They're not freeze framing it.
Do you know what I think it is? I don't think it matters. I think you pop up, you do a text. As long as you read one of them, you assume they're all just pretty positive. You can kind of just say whatever you want.
See, that makes me want to do an experiment now, where I put a positive one at the start, and then the rest are all pretty negative.
You do like, let's say you have 4 in total. I think you do 2 positives, a negative, and then a positive to close out, and see if anyone notices.
Was it that Tom Hardy movie where he plays twins that snuck a 2-star review onto the poster?
Yeah, and they put it next to him, so it just looked like he was covering up the fact, because they put them all through in between the bodies and all. Yeah, that was really clever.
It looked like they were just it was just like covering up the 2 other stars, but it was actually just a 2-star review.
That is the ballsiest poster design ever.
I applauded though. Yeah, this looks like it could be good. I feel like it's all kind of down to whether or not Shia LaBeouf is entertaining in the role and the movie itself. I feel like that's going to be the big.
No, I don't know how much I'm going to enjoy the movie. I thought it was a good trailer though. It had a really good pace.
It got across what the movie's going to be, certainly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't fault the trailer too much. Okay, so let's move on to The House of Tomorrow, which is Asa Butterfield, or Asia Butterfield, whoever he says the first name. He, of course, he was in... Oh, damn, I forgot the name of that now. The science fiction movie. Harrison Ford was in it with him. He's the kid...
Ender's Game.
There you go, Ender's Game. With the really homophobic author who wrote it.
Which is why I refused to watch it.
Yeah, I didn't know that before I watched it. I probably still would have watched it, but I certainly won't be touching the books.
This is one of those where sometimes I will separate it and I will watch it, but when I know that, for instance, he actually uses his profits to fund, anti-gay organizations and things, that's where I'm drawing the line.
Yeah, no,
I'm not giving him money to do that.
That's fair. The movie was okay. It wasn't great. Yeah. You're not missing anything particularly amazing, but not seeing it.
It looked all right, but yeah.
Yeah, you got him, and I think it was Haley Steinfeld was the love interest.
I do like Haley Steinfeld.
Quite
a lot.
So
piss off.
she's like 14 in that movie.
I don't mean then. I mean now.
So Butterfield is a character who's sort of sheltered his aunt, I think it is.
Grandma
maybe. Yeah. She has like this futuristic house in the forest. It's like domes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bubble, I suppose. Yeah, but it's like domes, and he's kind of sheltered. He's not allowed to do various things. He's not allowed to do anything. And the movie's basically him kind of he meets this other kid who's got heart problems, so he's like, you know, potentially dying halfway through to the movie. But basically, he's never heard like music before, at least mainstream modern music that everyone else listens to. Maybe his nan there has put on some classical stuff or something, but he hears punk rock for the first time, and him and this kid become friends, and they start a punk rock band, and his nan doesn't approve. Ron Swanson's kicking around. He's the other kid's dad, seemingly.
Yeah.
And that's the premise of the movie. It sounds like a movie where she has to learn to accept that he's going to be his own person and she can't control him and, you know, keep him locked up inside.
Probably. I mean, it's easy to go with it because it's punk. It's all about rebellion and you know, doing your own thing.
Yeah, it's a coming of age story in a kind of more unique setting. It's not just him in school. It's more specific and kind of weird. But
money on. The other kid with the heart problem dies, and he plays the gig without him at the end in his memory.
Yeah, I'm not taking that bet because that's kind of it's too safe. It's not guaranteed, but it's pretty safe.
It's a reasonably confident bet, isn't it?
Yeah. It's funny. I think what hurts this trailer for me is that I was just, it was making me think of Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, which I love. I love that movie.
Yeah, great movie.
Isn't Ron Swanson? You know, when I say Ron Swanson, I mean
Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman. He's in that too. He is. He's the dad. He's because he's in the house and they're watching the Herzog movies.
Yeah, you're right. That is him, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's just kind of funny he's in both. But it was making me think of that. Not because of him. That's just a coincidence. But
no, just the tone.
Just the tone. The fact that one of the kids is, like, you know, dying. It was really reminding me of that, and I love that movie. So I couldn't help but feel like, okay, I've already seen this done in a way that I love. So at best, this is batting for second place.
Yeah, it's the Annihilation problem.
Yes, which was obviously batting for seconds with Stalker.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it looks fine. It looks like it could be good. I have no.
No, I agree. I think this is perfectly solid, maybe great, depending.
Yeah.
Not going to be sure until I see it, but it's going to be at least good.
Yeah. Which takes us on to the final trailer. It's called Perfect. And I'm telling you right now, trailer of the week, because Perfect looks absolutely fantastic. And I will hear nothing against it. Connor, what are your thoughts?
I don't know if I'm going to go outright and say trailer of the week.
No, like, so this is about a kid who's a delinquent, right? Who's, when I say kid, he's like, you know, late teens. He's a bit older. He gets sent to a behaviour camp where they put implants in to sort of let them train or like learn behaviour in virtual reality. But the virtual reality is like vector lines from the 80s. This was full on style. I love it.
It's pretty great.
I knew nothing about this when I put it on, and when it cut to like them in like this like really cheesy 80s virtual reality, and it's got the synth music playing, and it looks like a very kind of like intense drama with these like weird sci-fi elements. I'm in.
Yeah, definitely digging the music, the vibe in general. Like I say, this I still don't know much about where the plot's gonna go. It's kind of it kind of the premise and then plays on tone and mood for the rest of it. That's perfectly good enough.
Oh, to be honest though, I kind of prefer when trailers just do tone and mood.
As long as the tone and mood is enough to carry it and get me interested.
Oh, sure,
definitely.
But because it means you get to go into it with very little spoiled.
Yes. Because
you've got a sense, you got a taste of what it's like, but you don't really know where it's going, and that's kind of cool. So this is immediately shot to on my radar. I love this trailer. I saved the best for last, and obviously at the end of this we always pick our favourite trailer of the week, but I've answered it already, so but I'm digging this. Style. Full on style. This is one of these trailers where I was getting a little bit of the Beyond the Black Rainbow vibe, just in terms of tone, and then I was getting, you know, obviously all the vector lines and the sort of intense moody lighting, which also reminds me kind of that. Also reminds me a little bit of a Refn movie, just a little touch of that.
Yeah, it's kind of that look to it.
And then mixing it with the sort of, you know, cheesy 80s virtual reality, I'm like, this is one of these things where I didn't know I wanted it, but it feels made just for me once I saw it.
So,
Perfect. Gets by trailer of the week. pick? What were you picking?
How perfect.
Yeah.
But not that, unfortunately. It's up there, but I'm a sucker. I'm for Fantastic Beasts.
Oh, you're so
What do you want
boring.
from me?
So boring.
Yeah, but I know, but it opens and I'm grinning like a giddy child.
All right. There you go.
I don't want to say like Star Wars, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. That's my big three. I'm kind of a sucker for good trailers in those things.
You are painfully mainstream. You know that.
That's what I grew up on.
Star Wars, Harry Potter, and Lord of the Rings. That's so boring. It's just the generic things that everyone likes.
Yes, but it's what I grew up on. What do you want me to say?
Like a proper thing. Like the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Who would you?
We shall move back on then to general news, part 2. First up, Kristen Stewart is going to play famous actress Jean Seberg in Against All Enemies. It's a political thriller directed by Benedict Andrews. The story is inspired by the true events of the breathless pixie who in the late 1960s was targeted by the illegal FBI surveillance program COINTELPRO.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say you said that wrong.
Probably.
Because you usually do.
It's also it's in all caps, so it may actually be a really long acronym.
That should not be an acronym.
But it's clearly I don't know my FBI history to decipher that.
You know, I told all the viewers earlier to go history. Mm-hmm. There we go. We need to do our own.
Exactly. So it's also going to star Jack O'Connell, Anthony Mackie, Margaret Qualley. That's her from Leftovers, the daughter.
It is. Yes.
And of course, Anthony Mackie's Falcon and a bunch of stuff. Also, Colm Meaney's in it as well. The original script is by Joe Sharpnel and Anna Waterhouse, who worked on Edge of Tomorrow 2, funnily enough.
That's still happening?
Apparently still happening. Also The Aftermath. I don't know what that is, but Edge of Tomorrow 2, I know what that is. Obviously, I've not seen it yet, because
There's no one's seen it yet.
It doesn't exist yet. But yeah, so it's going to shoot this summer. Seberg, an American actress who spent half her life in France, was a darling of the French New Wave. Because of her political and romantic involvement with the civil rights activist Hakim Jamal, played by Mackie, she was also the target of FBI's attempts to disrupt, discredit and expose the Black Power movement. So yeah, O'Connell plays the ambitious FBI agent assigned to survey her, only to find that their fates are dangerously interwoven. So that's the movie.
Fair enough. For some reason, I'm getting like deja vu. Like I've seen this a trailer like recently, and I know I haven't.
No,
but for some reason.
I mean, the fact that it says it's not shooting till this summer.
No,
means
I know
I'm
that's what I mean.
confident.
But like it's hitting something where I've seen a trailer like that's hitting these notes.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what it was, but we watch a lot of trailers. But
yeah, but there you go. Next up, Amazon Studios is in talks with Alexander Payne to direct a film called The Burial. Scripted by Doug Wright, the drama is based on the true legal exploits of Willie Gary. I was going to say Gray there. Willie Gary, a successful personal injury lawyer from Mississippi. He takes on the case of Jeremiah O'Keefe, the owner of a local chain of funeral homes who claimed he had been swindled by a major funeral parlor conglomerate. The rags to riches lawyer turns it into a David versus Goliath morality play. Gary's a flamboyant lawyer, the son of a poor black migrant worker who becomes known as the Giant Killer. And here he won a... This is kind of spoiling the story, but I mean, it's a true story, so I guess
history, folks.
Spoilers beware. And here he won a $500 million judgment. It was later reduced to $200 million, which is quite a reduction, but $200 million is still a cheese.
That's not bad, is it? I'll take it.
I'll take $200 million for the small funeral home owner against a conglomerate in 1995. So I can see this being very quirky. They mention he's flamboyant, of course. I can see him being a very energetic character that'll kind of carry the movie. It'll make it, because it sounds like the sort of thing that could be very dry, but I feel like, you know, these words, David versus Goliath, flamboyant. I feel like,
it'll be a bit very larger than life.
Yeah, not quite Better Call Saul, but I can definitely see.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Quirky sensibilities there. So yeah, there you go. So that's The Burial, which is actually I like, again, double meaning. We're talking about, you know, funerals and stuff, but we're also talking about how he buries that company. $200 million.
It's all right, isn't it?
Cough it up. All right, next up. Tim Blake Nelson has been hired to direct a sci-fi action film called Michael Zero for Millennium Media and Eclectic Pictures, based on a spec script by Adam Alicia. Tim Blake Nelson, of course, is also an actor. He was the villain in The Incredible Hulk. Or no, he wasn't the villain, sorry. He was the scientist who was sort of teased to be a villain in a future Hulk movie, but that never happened.
Oh, okay, I know who you're on about.
He was also in the newer Fantastic Four. He was like an executive in that.
I don't remember that.
But he's an actor. He's a character actor who pops up in small roles, basically. Every so often.
Yeah, one of those.
But he's also a director, and he is going to direct this film. It's a high-concept sci-fi action thriller, follows Michael Redmayne, who is forced to hunt down and kill his clones after they desert the war they were created to fight, in order to wage one of their own against the corporate state that made them. I had the wrong inflection.
Yeah,
sorry.
You made it sound like there was going to be more.
So basically, they were made to fight this war, and they decided to rebel and fight back against the company that made them, and the original guy who they were based on, Michael, is going to... That's hence the title Michael Zero, because he's number 0 and everyone else is a copy. I have no idea how good he is as a director. I have no idea what the quality is going to be like. But in concept alone, I actually quite like this.
I agree. It's playing with a lot of themes, tried and tested themes of sci-fi.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm down.
So we're calling it by the end of the movie, he realises his clones are all right, and he joins them and fights with them, right?
Oh, sure, he becomes the leader.
Absolutely. So that sounds pretty good. So that's Michael Zero is the name of that, if you want to keep track of that, folks.
You can see the premise at the end. It's like, they're all more human than he is.
Yeah. So next up, Lionsgate is optioned the rights to a book called How the Girl Guides Won the War. And it's not titled yet. So maybe
it's probably not going to be called that.
Yeah, probably, but we'll see.
Too much of a mouthful for a film title, I think.
J. Miles Goodlow has already been brought in to adapt the screenplay, so he's going to be working on that. He also worked before. He's done a bunch of stuff. He's done Age of Adeline, and The Mountain Between Us. That was the one that I was looking for. The one that was recent. That was the one that came out last year.
Right. Okay.
And Age of Adeline. So they're writing the script. It's based on a book by Janie Hampton. The narrative is about the women in World War II Britain who were considered crucial to the ultimate victory. When the Blitz occurred, they cooked from emergency ovens made from the bricks of bombed-out homes and kept people fed. They dug shelters, gave aid to homeless children, knitted clothes for warmth, and even assisted in healthcare. It became a movement as they lifted the morale across the country and gave hope to the hopeless. So it's about the war at home, basically. During World War II. I don't get excited about war movies. I'm not really too fussed as a concept on them. They can end up being great, but it doesn't excite me on its own.
I agree. This sounds like it could be a pretty good movie, but it's unlikely I'll care.
Yeah, not necessarily something that appeals to our taste, but it does seem like something that's a good premise to base a story around. And so here, let's champion not the soldiers for a change and champion everyone else. So,
definitely.
So that makes sense. Next up, Ian McKellen and Helen Mirren have been cast in a film called The Good Liar. It's a thriller. New Line Cinema is doing it, and it's based on a novel by Nicholas Searle, I think you say that last name, and it's directed by Bill Condon. Jeffrey Hatcher wrote the script. Is about a career con artist, Roy Courtney, played by McKellen, who can hardly believe his luck when he meets the well-to-do widow Betty McLeish, played by Murren, online. As Betty opens her home up and life up to him, Roy is surprised to find himself caring about her, turning what should be a cut-and-dry swindle into the most treacherous tightrope walk of his life. So...
It's not doing much for me, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I like the actors, but I mean the premise is kind of... Yeah.
Feels very bog standard, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, I don't know. It seems like a sort of delightful little kind of light... I mean, it says it's a thriller. That's the thing that's throwing me. Is it says
that's why I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I don't see it.
Because I feel like I see this as a light comedy for a Sunday afternoon. That's what I'm getting from these names and that synopsis. You're saying thriller, I'm like... Okay, I'm not.
This is when you give me these premises and you're like, okay, what do you think? I'm kind of go, all right, can I picture this? Can I see how this film looks? Can I see how it works? If I'm kind of going, what is this? Then, you know, like by the end of it, I'm still there going, kind of just a mishmash of things. I'm probably not going to be that excited.
Oh, that's fair. So we'll move on. Next up, we have another story that's been adapted based on a true story. So there's a lot of this going on right now. You know, true stories become books, then books become movies. That's kind of a thing that's happening.
The cycle of life.
It's called, well, the book at least was called Silence Breaker, the Sandra Bundy story. Adaptive Studios and Enlight Pictures are behind it. In the 1970s, Bundy fought through the courts to stop sexual harassment after being berated about her sexual inclinations by her boss and co-workers at the DC Department of Corrections. When she reached a breaking point and confronted the inappropriate sexually explicit comments and propositions, she was met with this comment: "Any man in his right mind would want to rape you." That was a bold sentence to set you into the premises. I think this is the first like big sexual harassment case of any kind. I think that's kind of why this is being picked specifically. Following her initial complaint, Bundy's job performance was called into question. When no action was taken after her formal complaint, Bundy filed a lawsuit in 1977 against the Department for Sexual Harassment, claiming her civil rights had been violated. She lost the case and soon afterward was demoted. Again, you're seeing the line of events here as being very typical and like, oh, sexual harassment, I'm going to fire you for accusing me of that, bye-bye, or along those lines.
Pretty much.
Determined to seek justice, she continued pushing forward, filing an appeal on a lower court decision. After 5 years of battling, the Supreme Court finally agreed with the appeal's verdict, validating her case. The final ruling: workplace sexual harassment is considered discrimination and therefore a civil rights violation. That decision changed the course of history and improved the conditions for generations of women to come. Which, I agree with all that. Of course, there's a slight tinge of sadness to it that this is extremely topical for a lot of reasons that, you know, we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, no, it's like, I get why this is being made now.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is super topical. And
this is going to get rushed out. I guarantee you this is out as soon as humanly possible.
And don't get me wrong, no doubt things are better than they were then. But clearly there's still a long ways to go.
Yeah, better does not mean good.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that absolutely. The fact that we even had to have a Me Too movement over the last year is a sign that we're not quite there yet, or even close to being there.
Yeah,
but this
not quite as generous.
Yeah, not quite as generous. So this good movie for the times. Obviously, this is the sort of thing where, assuming you have the right talent involved, this will be Oscar heavy. This will be nominated for things, and it'll be all the rest of it. Bundy, is worth mentioning, is still alive. She's 84 now, and she's had profiles written about her and stuff, and
sounds about right.
All the rest of it. So,
especially when you change something like that, which is big civil liberties. When you get those big cases where, because the way that works with the Supreme Justice cases like that is where, okay, that's the precedent now. So everything goes back to that. So anytime there's one of these cases, it's like, well, that was the situation then. So unless it's overruled by the Supreme Courts again, we go by that. No,
absolutely. So yeah. So obviously, there was a lot of description there. It was kind of telling you the gist of the whole story with her. But
yes.
No. So I'm assuming Silence Breaker on its own will be the title.
It's a pretty good title.
It's a pretty good title. It works for what the story is. And obviously, I can see the brain potential here. Obviously, I can see this is exactly the sort of movie I can see like a Best Actress nomination if they get someone who really nails it and and so on. So there you go. That is the last of the general news. That takes us on to the horror. You could argue that last one is also kind of a horror story in many ways, but we're on to actual horror movie news now. So here's something that's happening. So Netflix and 21 Laps are doing a horror movie with James Wan producing. He's not going to direct it, he's just producing. It's called There's Someone Inside Your House, and it is referred to as a coming-of-age slasher movie.
I'm down. You're definitely down.
Oh, you know I'm down. The streaming giant is beat out multiple studios to the red-hot pitch based on a young adult author Stephanie Perkins' NYT, New York Times, best-selling novel. Usually I'll just say it out loud, and I just abbreviated. I thought, no, I better say what it is, because it just sounds stupid saying it.
It does, yeah.
But, so yeah, her best-selling novel about a young girl whose high school friends inexplicably begin to die in a series of gruesome murders. It's saying this one's similar in tone to Stranger Things. Think 80s and 90s slasher movies meet a Johnny Hughes comedy like Breakfast Club.
Oh, yes, I'm so in.
I'm a little upset about this because I actually had a great idea for a script a long time ago, which was basically Halloween meets Breakfast Club.
Tough shit. Someone better beat you to it.
Well, it doesn't sound like the exact same thing, because my whole idea is that it was actually the tension.
You don't want to tell them.
Oh, sure, yeah, I won't tell everyone. It's fine.
Come on, you want this to happen. You can't just give your ideas away like that.
Yeah, but isn't me actually having it recorded proving that it's my idea? Does that count for copyright?
Yes, it does.
I can tell them now. Anyone
Yeah,
does
go
this,
ahead.
I can sue your ass.
Yeah.
Anyway, so 80s 90s slash movie with Breakfast Club. The screenplay is coming from Henry Gayden, who recently wrote Shazam. We've not seen that yet, but
High hopes, though.
high hopes. So, more than a year after her parents sent her away from Hawaii to live with her grandmother in landlocked Nebraska, McCanny Young is still adjusting to her new life. She's made a small group of close friends and even flirted with romance, but her past in Hawaii is still hard to forget. And then, one by one, the students of her new high school begin to die in a series of gruesome murders. McCanny doesn't know who's next on the list. Between this and a secret scorching relationship with a school weirdo, the school year may turn to be one to die for. Literally, I can't. Yeah.
Literally.
I struggle with the R's and the L's together. You know I do.
You do all the time. That word in particular.
That word in particular, I absolutely do. Anyway, so obviously I like the sound of this. I'm on board.
Yeah. Let's just stop this section now because nothing's going to top that.
Let's move on.
Damn it, worth a try.
Columbia Pictures, aka Sony, basically, has preemptively acquired the rights to Where the Devil Hides, a gothic horror novel by Craig Russell, which, again, preemptively meaning the book's not out yet. So they've got the rights before it's come out. It's set in Eastern Europe, where The Devil Hides follows a physician set to experiment on the 6 deadliest killers in history who have been imprisoned for life within a remote mental asylum that has a dark history and bloody secrets all of its own. So I'm not sure if that's going down like a supernatural route where he goes to this asylum to, get these 6 killers, or if it's more the killers themselves become the threat. I'm not sure from that description.
It could go either way. It says gothic horror. It still could go either way.
I'm thinking it's like because all the worst people are sent there is like a supernatural sort of build-up of energy that releases a demon or something. I don't know.
Wouldn't be unfeasible.
Or a ghost or whatever. So yeah.
Do you know what? That one being preemptively acquired as well. I think the best job in the world. The section of the companies that get all the books sent to them, and they read it and go, yeah, you should take this one. Because I don't think they have to try. They just go, yeah, take this one. Or take everything that comes through. They'll just pick 5 at random and go, yeah, go on then.
Well, no, but here's the thing, though. I think the higher-ups who actually want to make these choices still read the books. But yeah, you've got someone there reading everything and then recommending a shorter list and saying, here, okay.
Yeah, that's the job.
Yeah.
That'd be a great job. I could do that.
Well, just read books and recommend which ones would be good for movies? Sure.
Yeah, I'm a pretty quick reader. I can get through enough.
Sure. In fact, there was a job going at Netflix a couple of years ago. It was basically to watch their content and then sort of like say how good their recommendation system was working. So basically you were being paid to watch Netflix stuff all day and just fill out some information based on various bits. And I was like, man, that sounds like a great job.
Yeah. So what we're saying is, if anyone out there is watching and would like to offer one of these style jobs to us,
where we just watch, read, maybe play video games and just do that all day.
We're down. You just hit us up.
Anyway, so next up, it wouldn't be a horror section without Blumhouse, would it?
Could it even be possible?
So basically, a while ago, we kind of guessed, we knew that the Unfriended sequel was the mystery movie at this.
Because they were really shit at hiding it.
Yeah, I think it was South by Southwest. They had a showing of it, and Blumhouse came out and he was like, "Hey, here's the movie. The title is Unfriended Dark Web. That's the title of the movie. A 20-something finds a cache of hidden files on his new laptop and is thrust into the deep waters of the dark web. from the makers of Unfriended, but because the synopsis was written when it was still a secret what it was. So
Yeah.
why you'd put from the makers of Unfriended in it when you're meant to keep it a secret, I don't know, but whatever.
Yeah, I remember saying that at the time.
It's almost
okay, so it's Unfriended too.
It's almost like a double bluff. It's like we mentioned that, so it can't be an Unfriended movie.
Yeah, but we all just called them on it anyway.
Yeah. So the events unravel in real time, entirely on a computer screen. A warning for the digital age. So they revealed Unfriended Dark Web. More interestingly, though, is that I've been hearing mainly from Tim, but Tim, of course, is one hearing this from multiple people. But Tim told me that he's hearing good buzz about this. That it's actually meant to be pretty good.
Tim's somehow connected.
Yes, he lives in LA.
Bastard. Yeah,
he lives in LA. He gets all these screenings and premieres, and he meets famous people at showings and whatnot.
A bit of a smug prick about it, though, isn't he?
yeah. He rubs it in your face. Tim's awful. So Unfriended Dark Web, the first one, I think we agree was a legitimately good movie and a good surprise.
Shockingly so. Yes.
Yeah, but barring one stupid, bogus, scary movie ending scene, the rest of it,
literally like a second and a half.
Yeah, it's literally the last 5 seconds of the movie. The rest of it, though, genuinely actually quite good, and it was made for it was something like $50,000. It was dirt cheap.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's 5 people and some.
We
laptops.
could make that movie right now.
We could. I don't know why we would, but we could.
We could theoretically.
Yeah. Go. Why aren't you writing scripts? Go on, chop.
Me?
Yeah, go on. You're the writer here.
We'll do an Unfriended movie that's not Unfriended. I'll just okay, so we're on Skype and
yeah, just knock one up.
Hey, let's be honest. The bulk of that $50,000 went to paying for the rights to use the real Facebook and Skype and Google,
Skype and Instagram and Instagram comes through Facebook, I guess. But yeah, absolutely, it did.
Yeah, and YouTube came with Google. That was a nice cost cutter.
They kind of doubled up a little bit.
Yeah, we get both now. It's actually almost good that these companies all own multiple things now because
I was thinking, what comes with Skype? I mean, I guess you could take Bing, but
Outlook for the emails, I guess, if you're using that.
Yeah.
Not Microsoft, true. I guess.
That's true. They're all on Macs, weren't they? I feel like it was Apple.
It may have been. I can't remember.
Either way, that's definitely where the bulk of the budget went.
I feel like then the sequel should be on Windows, and that way you've got Control-Delete coming into play, and you.
Oh yeah, do the third one. Go for Linux.
Oh god, no. No, only the nerdiest of nerds would understand what was happening on Linux.
Yeah, I know, but I think just for the hell of it, it'd be funny.
Alright, speaking of sequels, Happy Death Day 2 looks like it's going to be a thing.
Of course it is.
Well, I mean, again, it was made for, a few million, and it made quite
a lot of million.
Made a hefty amount. I think it may even crossed 100 worldwide, which is,
a lot of millions, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so Happy Death Day 2, it's not officially announced yet. However, a production weekly roundup has it listed for starting production in New Orleans on May 14th. So it looks like it's definitely happening.
Okay.
The working title for it, how they know that it's Happy Death Day 2, they don't actually say, but the working title is Faux Pas. Not Faux Pas, it's like Faux Pas, but it's spelled...
P-A-W.
Yeah, paw.
All right, okay. I thought you were just saying it weird for a second.
No.
I was taking a second going... I was like, should I correct you?
I'm not being an idiot here. It's spelled like paw, so...
Okay.
I think they're making a pun. Well,
I bloody hope so.
Yeah. And yeah, so it also confirms that the director Christopher Landon will be directing and writing again. He did the first one, so that's good. Because I like the movie a lot. Sorry?
Did he write the first one?
Well, I must have co-wrote it because yes, I know Scott Lobdell wrote the script.
Well, yeah,
for the first
one. That's the only thing I've ever heard talk about in terms of the writing. I didn't know that he co-wrote it.
Well, to be fair, it says he will be returning to both write and direct. I suppose theoretically, he just directed the first one and he's writing this one as well because he's returning and he's doing both. So
yeah, it's odd sentence structure could lead to that.
I'm going to assume though that he probably co-wrote it with Lobdell.
No, that's fair.
But yeah, so interesting. I got some. I've not got it here, but I looked up some just if there's any information on it. And Jessica Roth, who will probably be back, was the lead in it, which is good because she was kind of part of the reason why the movie worked so well as it did. But she was saying in an interview that it's not just going to be the same thing again if they do a second one. She was kind of like saying, oh, he's got ideas, and it'll be kind of like how Back to the Future 2 kind of messed with how the first one worked. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, because you've not seen Back to the Future
I don't
Part
know,
2.
but I know enough.
They go back to the same time period again, and it's kind of like, you see the events.
Yeah.
So
Doubles up.
So I'm wondering if the second one won't just be... It's not just Groundhog Day again. It's manipulating time, but in a different way. And maybe we will end up crossing over with the other one.
Yeah, because that would be my biggest... Like you say they're doing a sequel. I'm like... I immediately go, why? Because it would... I mean, you've got to do something drastically different. Otherwise, it's kind of the same thing again.
She also said that there were some things that were teased in the first one that never really got fleshed out, and they would be fleshed out in the second one. And there was a couple of things, actually, that were never kind of touched upon once they were brought up, that could potentially lead to,
You'd
like,
have
more...
to remind me, because...
Yeah. Well, there's a spoiler, so I won't say it here. But, so I think there's room there. And I think the idea... Because they never actually explained really why it was happening.
Not really, no. It just did.
So I wonder if maybe that's something what the sequel might be about. It's like, okay, if something weird like that starts happening again, even if it's not the exact same thing, but it's like, you know, time's been manipulated by her, and she's doing something. I wonder if it's like, okay, why is this happening? It's happening there a second time.
I want to call it.
Go on.
Playing money on the table again. Here we go.
All right.
She caused the loop in the first one because she knew that she had to go through she has to go through that loop to become who she is, and they figure out what caused. You know, they figure out, oh, there's a machine that does the loop, and she intentionally starts that loop from the future.
Oh, from the future. Okay, she didn't. Not in the first movie.
Not in the first. In the second movie, she intentionally starts the loop of the first movie.
She makes the choice that starts the loop. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That would interact. You know, they're talking about the Back to the Future stuff. That would kind of play to that rule.
I don't know if I see them going with as a machine that's doing it.
I know. I don't think machining it, but you know, hypothetically, whatever it is, I think she makes the choice to make that loop happen. I'm
curious as to what it would be, because for me the first movie works, and I like it a lot because it's a great character arc movie where she like grows as a person, and it's good fun, and they can keep the fun. They can keep the boyfriend can come back, and they can have some fun with that stuff. But what is the arc of the movie? And that's what excites me, is what are they going to do with that? And I say excites, it could also worry me depending on what, you know, if it goes badly. But I like the first one a lot. You don't like it as much, but you still enjoyed it.
It's pretty good, yeah.
So I'm excited. I hope it ends up being good, and it did quite well. Blumhouse, you know, knocking them out.
yeah, they're rolling it.
They are.
I think that's how they make so many movies, though. It's because they cost so little, they make so much on, you know, enough that they can kind of just go, yeah, go on, you can have. They've had a good run. Go on, man, you can have another one.
They've had a really good run though, because Get Out, I think Get Out was them, right?
Yeah, it was.
And then this one. And then, I'm sure, and then Insidious 3, or 4 rather, did better than the previous one, so they're on a relatively good streak.
To be fair, they've always done pretty well, right?
Yeah, I think they're at a point now where after it like did 700 million, like horror's kind of in again.
It is, and Blumhouse are perfectly primed to take that throne.
Suits me, suits Tim. We're all on board for more horror movies, so that's cool. All right, so we'll move on. So here's an interesting thing. Shout Factory, who also do the Blu-ray label Stream Factory, which horror fans might know quite well. But Shout Factory, the parent company, has actually acquired, along with China Ace Film Hong Kong, to purchase the entire Roger Corman New Horizon Pictures library, which is around 270 films and some action sci-fi TV series. Roger Corman, of course, is the king of the B-movies from back in the day, including this massive library, films such as Rock and Roll High School, Battle Beyond the Stars, Piranha, that's the Joe Dante one, Galaxy of Terror, Bloodfist, Black Scorpion, Eat My Dust, Humanoids from the Deep, Slumber, Party, Massacre. Love that movie.
Your personal favourite.
Yeah, although 2's even better. And Forbidden World. So
it's quite a hefty acquisition.
This is a lot of movies, so I think it was Hollywood Reporter that did this first. They noted that Shout Factory and Ace Film plan to tap the 270 films into New Horizons, and that means making new content, maybe reboots, remakes, merchandise and stuff, probably Blu-ray and releases and stuff like that.
I think this will have its own whole collection of Blu-rays. You know how they have the other line.
Well, they actually already released a couple of these on Stream Factory.
Right, I
Yeah,
think they'll re-release them as a whole new line. You're like
Maybe,
the whole
yeah.
numbered line sort of thing.
But they're hoping to develop them into reboots, remakes, maybe new TV shows, digital platforms. You know, it's quite
That's insane.
Yeah, it's quite a hefty amount of things to get.
It is, yeah.
And obviously they're all B movies, so they're not like big, like name things, but it's a lot of things to be making low budget horror movies and stuff out of.
Yeah. Get a nice turnaround on them for sure.
Yeah. So no, it's interesting.
I dread to imagine how much that cost them. Because, like I say, none of them are huge, but with such a large library of IP.
I don't know. I don't know. Shout obtains all the rights to New Horizons library in North America, Europe, Australia, Russia, whilst Ace handles it in China, Asia, Africa, and South America. So they basically split it 50-50. Like,
yeah,
they all have to plan it each. Basically, most of the English-speaking places, for the most part, Shout Factory, Ace, your Asia, and Africa, and South America.
Seems pretty reasonable. I can see, why you kind of split them up more or less that way.
Yeah, and that's probably how they could afford it as well, because it's two of them sort of taking the cost together, and then they can make stuff that might appeal to both audiences, or maybe it'll be kind of 50-50, where some will appeal more to one or the other, but we'll get both, and that could be
yeah
kind of fun. I don't
Still this way, give it a few years, you might have more Slumber Party Massacre.
Slumber Party Massacre 4, baby. It's happening.
Yeah, it won't be 4, it'll be a reboot.
Sure. I'll call it 4 though. It's basically 4.
Yeah.
It's not like they were connected in the first place anyway. I think there was one character in 2 who was like the little sister of one of the main characters in 1, but that was it. That was the extent of the connections.
That is a standard horror sequel connection.
Yeah. You'd like the second one though. The slasher's musical themed.
Honestly, everything I've heard about it, I'm like, yeah, I will watch this.
He kills people with a giant guitar. It's got a drill.
Please, October, give me time this year. TV, don't slaughter me. Give me time to watch some of these shitty horror movies.
So good. Anyway, that actually wraps up the news. That's the last.
Cool.
That's the last of the horror news. Okay, so what that takes us on to now is we'll if we have any movies that we watched this week that weren't for review purposes. So obviously you'll see us talking about, for example, we did Super Mario Brothers. That's up early on Patreon and in Flux. We watched that this week, but we don't talk about that because that's up in the review. So if we watched anything that wasn't for review purposes, just kind of casually, we'll briefly talk about them, spoiler free. Just mention if they're worth watching, that sort of thing. Do you have any this week?
Nothing that was a new watch. When I went to watch it, I ended up watching that Ricky Gervais special on Netflix because Netflix threw it in my face and I'm a sucker.
Not a movie though, so
no. But unfortunately, we did have the passing of Stephen Hawking this week.
We did.
So
we did.
I rewatched The Theory of Everything.
Okay.
Why not? I like that movie a lot, and I thought, it seems nice.
Yeah. Obviously, it was a shame to hear. I think honestly, this is a weird thing. Obviously, it's sad that he's gone, but honestly, my first thought when I heard that he's passed away at the age of 76 was like, he was told when he was in university that he had 2 years left to live.
He was like 21, 22, and he was told 2 years.
And he was told 2 years and tops before he's dead.
He did like 55 or something stupid like that.
He lasted to an age that a lot of healthy, normal people would call a good age to get to.
Yeah, that's not a young age to die. It's like
I wouldn't say it's an old age.
On the younger scale.
Yeah,
but it's not. Yeah.
Honestly, like that guy accomplished so much sitting in that chair that it's unreal. He did
obviously.
I had nothing for respect for what he did.
Undoubtedly one of the greatest minds of the generation,
and surviving as long as he did when he wasn't supposed to. So
and becoming a literal pop culture icon.
Oh yeah,
throughout all of it.
Everyone knows who he is.
Astounding.
Yeah, dude. So
something I learned this week: he is the only person ever to appear on Star Trek as himself.
That is fascinating.
There's stock footage and stuff, but to actually appear as himself,
that is interesting.
He's the only one.
I'm assuming next gen.
I assume so. I didn't read all of it. The article didn't say. It
I look forward to the Stephen Hawking episode then. Whenever we get to it.
Obviously, he's everywhere. He's done Simpsons. Big Bang Theory was something recent.
Nah, so I mean, obviously Sally's passed away. Great mind to lose, but honestly, most of my first thoughts were, damn, he proved them wrong.
He beat the odds. Even today, what your life expectancy when you get that is 2 to 5 years.
Here's the thing that really kind of cracks me up about it. Presumably the doctor who told him that was much older than him at the time. He loved that doctor.
Probably, yeah.
Very probably. Like, assuming that doctor was at least middle-aged.
Yeah, it's not impossible that the Doctor's still around, but it's...
Unlikely.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Good on you. Good on
Oh,
you, Steve.
definitely. Like I say, when you're given 2 years and you do another 50 plus...
Also, the guy known for theoretical physics died on Pi Day. I just want to say, he held... I like to think that he held out an extra day because he's like, I'm going out on the 14th of March.
And as I have said, as a Briton, he wouldn't give a shit because that damn date is backwards. And it's not... It's only Pi Day where they do the date wrong.
But you don't get to have any fun days the other way around, though. That's the problem. Alien Day only works if you have the month first. 426. LV 426.
That's the only reason you defend any other stupid day because the date is because you want that one, and you're like, I can't go after all the others without going after that one. It is, isn't it?
Alien Day is important. I'm not confirming or denying anything, but Alien Day is important. Hey, still, I like that though. I like that he went out on 3.14 day. I like it.
I refuse to acknowledge its existence.
That's class. And like you don't want an excuse to eat more pie. So
I had a pie that very night. I mean, like I said, I refuse to acknowledge it, but I will never pass up an opportunity to have a nice pie for dinner.
You can't have it both ways. So anyway, what was I saying?
I don't know. We were talking about Stephen Hawking because I watched Theory.
Oh, we finished. Yes, yeah, this is decent. It's a good movie. What's funny about that is the movie's oddly kind of like personal because my father had MS and was in a wheelchair, so a lot of the movie of her struggling to take care of him is actually very reminiscent of what I witnessed growing up. So there's I mean, completely different disease, of course, but
the idea of just
yeah.
Someone physically incapable of helping themselves. You have
Yeah.
to, it's similar. It doesn't matter on the disease there specifically.
Yeah, no fancy voice box, and didn't change science forever. So largely unaccomplished by comparison, but there was some relatability there.
I get it.
Anyway, I did watch something this week actually. I just casually watched When We First Met, the Netflix movie that came out like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, the
Adam Devine was Alexander Daddario.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a decent watch. Honestly, the biggest fault I have against it is that it doesn't really do anything particularly like daring with it, because by the time they introduced like the four main characters at the start of the movie, I knew not only exactly how it was going to end, but what 2 or 3 of the steps were going to be before we got to the ending.
I get that.
Because I was like, okay, so the lesson is going to be this. To have that lesson, he's going to have to do this, this, and this, and that's this and this, and that's who's going to be there, and that's yeah. And I got it.
It's a rom-com that happens to have some time travel in it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and it was and obviously sometimes we say, oh, predictable's not necessarily bad because it just means they've set up the plot properly. This was before they set anything up. I literally just met the characters and went, okay, I know how this is ending.
But aside from that, was it a fun ride?
It was fun. I wouldn't say it's like must-watch material, but it is a pleasantly delightful, light little film to have on. There's a couple of really great laughs in it. Some of them are just kind of okay. It kind of plays out just a little bit too by the numbers to really kind of catapult into, oh, you have to watch that. But it's a fine little watch to have on when you're doing something.
That makes sense. It's almost certainly going to be watched by me in the next few months. It's there on Netflix, a Sunday afternoon, one late night. It's just going to go on. Yeah.
What I'll say is credit to Adam Devine, because he's at a Halloween party, because if you don't know the premise of the movie, is that he's in love with Alexander Daddario. He met her one night 3 years ago at a Halloween party, and they had this great night. They talked, they went off on their own, they had beers, they went to a piano bar, had the perfect night. He was madly in love, but he left it too long, and instead of getting a kiss at the end, he got a hug and became the guy friend. And then she went and got engaged to Robbie Amell, and it's their wedding engagement, like party day. But he ends up going to this photo booth, which when he goes back into, sends him back in time 3 years, and he basically gets to go back to the day where he first met her to try again, and he
keeps on trying,
and he can do it as much as he wants. Yeah, he keeps going back to the photo booth and going back. So what was I getting to? I forgot what my original point was going to be. Oh yeah, so that Halloween party. So he keeps going back to the Halloween party, right? And the first time you see him, he's dressed as Garth from Wayne's World. And he does a really good impression of Garth from Wayne's World. And then later on, he's trying to be more fancy, so he goes as Roger Moore, James Bond. And again, he does such a great... Not of speaking. He holds the gun and smirks, like the photo of Roger Moore's James Bond, and it looks perfect. And I'm like, what is he doing? It's like when they cast him and said, what can you do a good impression of for the Halloween parties? Rather than like write just anything in, they let him pick something he could do.
Yeah. What you got? What you got in your repertoire? Come on, give us a shot.
And he's just got that smug smile perfectly as he's holding the gun. I'm like, because otherwise he's in a tuxedo. It's just, it's
an iconic look.
But all he does is make the face, and that's it. Okay, he's Roger Moore.
It says a lot that you can just describe that, and I know exactly the face you're on about.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot to live up to if he's doing it, that good.
Yeah, that impressed me. But no, likable cast. Some there's like 2 or 3 really funny jokes, and then there's just a lot of nice sort of humor that's pleasant but not breaking your balls.
Well, that's cool. I'll definitely check it out.
So there you go. That is everything I watched this week. Obviously, I watched stuff for reviews and stuff. Which leads me to just kind of like sort of shell out the movie reviews that went up this week. On Screams After Midnight, we had Veronica, which is actually went up on Netflix for everyone. It's a Spanish horror film from one of the 2 directors of the original Wreck, and is a pretty decent movie actually. So check out me and Tim's review on Screams if you want to find out more. We this week had Pacific Rim go up for Influx for everyone, and obviously the sequel's coming out soon, so it made sense. Connor had never seen it, so we watched Pacific Rim. We actually recorded that a little bit in advance, so we recorded that like a couple of months ago. When I was editing it to put it up, and I don't usually cut out much, beyond like a mistake or like we had to take a break or something, but I actually cut out a conversation about what we thought Black Panther was going to be like, because it was like, this is redundant, no one cares what we were thinking 2 months ago, but what Black
people
Panther
already know
be.
what we think of Black Panther.
Yeah, we've reviewed it already, it's fine. So I cut that out, so I thought that was amusing. I thought I'd mention that. Obviously, Super Mario Brothers was the Patreon pick winner last month. That went up this week for Influx for the patrons early, so everyone else will get that next week. But that's went up this week.
There's other stuff.
Oh, of course, yes. I always forget about Gigawatts, because Gigawatts is kind of sometimes there is one, sometimes there isn't. We had Annihilation, of course, which is Alex Garland's sci-fi film, and Natalie Portman, Tessa Thompson, who we mentions all over the place now. Me and Connor reviewed that, so you can have a look at that too.
And there's still another one.
Is there? What was the other one?
Do you want to take a stab?
What show is it?
No, I can't tell you that.
What do you mean you can't tell me that?
Because that gives it away.
How does it give it away?
Okay, I'll have to just tell you, because the answer is your Overload movie.
Ah, okay, it does kind of give it away.
It's 1 a month. If I say it's Overload. Well,
okay, sure. Okay, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. Me and Matt watched that. That's also a Patreon voted one for where I'll pick a movie I love, Matt picks a movie he loves. We put them against each other. Our patrons vote which one they want us to do. That was my pick, of course, and Matt had a lot of... He didn't hate it. He saw why I liked it, but it's definitely not
had
his
a very
type of movie.
mad reaction to it.
Yes. That is, of course, the first film in the Vengeance trilogy. Most people know Old Boy, which is the second film in that trilogy, but that's the first one. So,
I've still not seen the third one myself.
It's the weakest of the 3, but it's still solid. Yeah, it's still good enough watch.
Yeah, maybe a random Influx one day.
But that is the show. That is our movie news show. So I don't know what runtime we're at. Hopefully it's not too inflated and we're close to 2 hours again. That's my hope. But that is us. So thank you for watching or listening. Let us know what you thought of the news in the comments this week. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fudge for channel updates. If you want to support the channel and get in some of those voting episodes we mentioned and actually have your voice count for what we do, you can go over to patreon.com/mailoffuzztv. There's a link in the description to that, but otherwise that is us. So thank you once again for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching movies, and we'll see you next time.